You are watching the Vodka stream.
The stream cometh. What is happening, everybody? Oh, we made it through another week, and what a long week it was, at least for me. My God, but we made it. We're here, and we're going to be talking about some things that happened in the past couple of days and the entire week, of course. And cheers, guys. All right, got my little vodka drink. So I put a lime in this time. So today, instead of a lemon, I did a lime. So, trying out the lime because, lime has got a little bit more of a, I like lemon, but lime, I don't know. I think the lime has a little bit of a better citrusy flavor. I don't know. So cheers. See, I don't know. I think that it improves it. Maybe I should do both. Just have a little orgy of citrus in my my little film junkie vodka drink right there. Hit that like, thumbs up, guys. Do all the things and everything. And like I said, yeah, it's been a long week. I've had to work some overtime this week. I don't know what's going on with SoCal's weather right now. So, like the past, let's see, before yesterday, for like 6 straight days, it was straight up cloudy, gloomy, rainy, and cold. Today it was 98 degrees. It got up to 98 degrees today. and I've told you guys, moving into the new place that, where my studio / office is, it's essentially the hottest room of the house. So now I'm just kind of, it's kind of testing out the elements here. And we fired up that AC, and that AC is not really working too well at the house. So we might have to get that checked out, So, yeah, try not to. I'm already feeling it. I might have to get a little rag here. My forehead is a little sweaty, but we're gonna manage. Okay? Because you got to do it. You got to do it. Like I said, I got my tasty cold beverage right here, so. Great to see you guys. We got Kenneth right here. What is happening, my friend? Hope your Friday's going well. It was a long Friday. I worked 10 hours today. Hey. Loved the Peacemaker Season 2 trailer. We're still super excited for Superman and ready for the DCU. Hope it does well. Going into it with an open mind, as you should. And great to see you, Kenny, as always. Hopefully for the DCU films and TV shows, they're better working environments. That's what we hope for. See, Kenny, you are saying the message that we wanted to, give studios is, yes, we hope the working environments for the actors and directors and writers and crew members, we want them to have a pleasant working environment. That's the point of, again, the Snyder Cut movement needs to be, it should be studied in all film classes, to be honest. It should be. I've always said that whole movement should be studied, and the messaging around that is not just, I want my movies, I want my superhero movies, I want this, it's not about entitled DC fans. Yes, that'll be part of the studying for sure. It'll be about entitled fans 100%, but hopefully the messaging will mainly be about fans just not just, wanting to get the director's vision realized, but also the fact that, hey, studios, stop doing this shit, and hey, trust your filmmakers, and let's create awesome work environments when it comes to all this. I know it's never going to be perfect, but hey, at least we could try a little bit, right? That's all. Let's see, we got Ryan right here. Good to see you, buddy. And we got Clone Avenger. Really cool to see Guy and Hot Girl and Peacemaker, even if it's just a small scene. Also, love the twist at the end of the trailer. DCEU Peacemaker versus DC. Oh, yeah. See, we're going to break it down. I'm going to break it down in the opening of the stream tonight after I give my fight or flight full-on review. And, of course, we'll bring on the panel to basically, we'll do a lot of... We'll do a lot of discussions when it comes to that. We got Game City City here. Gunn showing his hand that he can write women by having Courtney act like a man. Proof Gunn's wife doesn't even have a say in the universe. Well, there you go. Another enlightening message from Game City Savior right there. That's right. Meanwhile, I don't think any one of us could get a woman like that. Anyways, okay. Thank you, Game City Savior. Always great to read your chats. Monique, what's happening? Have the happiest Fridays. Leftover short rib lasagna. That's right. You were talking about that. Rainbow tomato caprese salad. I'm not a big tomato fan, so that one I might be like, but did add the garlic bread through Brother Film Junkies ASMR. Most inspiring. Yes, I know, right? If you guys were watching what she's referring to, if you guys see on Wednesday's Film Junkie Live, my brother, it's not the first time he's done it since we've been here, but he made some pasta and garlic bread. And you could actually see, like, when I was showing a certain part of, which was Zack Snyder's cameo in the studio, he like came in, but I was like, no, not yet. And I was like, nope. But then I was like, all right, come in. And then of course I showed my plate and everything. And what's cool about that garlic bread, he actually made some more tonight. So I had a couple pieces before I started the show. Get a little carbs, get some carbs in before I talked for 5 hours. Always fun. So, and then we got Versus Seed. So happy with those cameos in the Peacemaker trailer. Were never leaked. I know. And we were kind of like, interesting when it comes to that. What's going on? Taladia Plays. Great to see you, buddy. We got Emmanuel right here. Love the Pacemaker. I like that. Peacemaker trailer. Good. Hoy, hoy. Hey, Mr. Jason McKenzie, helping out that pirate ship, man. Always, he's a fellow crew member. He's a fellow film junkie, I should say. There you go. Cheers, my friend. Always great to see you, and thank you for the super chat. Great. Indiana Jake, hopefully that Peacemaker variant at the end of our new Peacemaker, because his helmet looked cooler. Yeah, that's right. There was 2 designs of the Peacemaker helmet. So, and we got Anthony Ortiz, Snyder. Woo! All right. It's not. Hey, I mean, yeah. Woo! I mean, I'm wearing a Snyderverse shirt. We're good. Yeah, Snyder. Zack Snyder stuff. Yeah. All right. I don't know if I don't know if you're meaning that sarcastically, and I don't know which side of the aisle you're on. I think you're on the aisle of Snyder. Yes. Lime is the way to go. Yeah, I think so. I think lime is the way to go. Like, I don't mind a lemon, but I think a lime just adds a little bit more of there's a different kind of flavor to it. And I'm really liking the lime in the drink. So still trying to, make sure I got the right ingredients when it comes to all this. Let's get nuts. Cheers. I had to put the sweat wicking PJs on. Hell yeah. Get comfy. What's going on, Jose? Hope the Giants lose right now, so my Friday is better. Yeah, it wasn't looking good. I didn't have the game on because I know it's on Apple TV tonight. And they were like getting like no hit. Yeah, it's not looking good right now. That's for damn sure. No, I just want to see the score. Yeah, the score's not looking good. It's 3-1. They scored a run at least, so it's not they're not being no hit anymore. It was like a perfect game to like 5 innings. Yeah, don't doubt the Giants. They're the comeback kids. So hopefully you jinxed it, Jose. Hopefully you jinxed it. And we'll see what happens. The Justice Gang. Mr. Trevino, salud. Happy Friday. I know your Giants a fan, but my Tigers, your Tigers won. Good. Hey, the Tigers. So it was funny because like last week sometime when I was looking at the standings, because I was listening to some of the stuff, post-game things, but like the Mets, the Giants, and the Tigers had like the best records in baseball. So, I mean, your Tigers are doing pretty good. So, hey, nothing wrong with that. Anyways, let's see what else we got. Who else we got? It's in the chat. We got Mr. Balga is going to be joining, of course. It's really interesting. Fans who complained about Lucas towards the end of his time at Star Wars. Now many of those fans want him back. I say go back and listen to his scripts. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens, right? I mean, I think, I probably was like, the only thing I always said about Lucas is I mean, he was always a very creative person naturally. He just couldn't write dialogue. That's the thing. His dialogue was just bad. But the concepts and everything that he came up with were cool. Like, there were things he knew how to shoot a movie, but the Twins won. Fuck. Well, there you go. I didn't know it was that far into the game. Jeez. Well, there you go, Jose. Cheers. Giants lost. Ugh. Not a good start to that series, but hey, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, no. It is kind of funny. And like I said, I haven't watched Andor yet. Yeah, because I didn't realize they were, like I said, I didn't realize they were releasing 3 episodes at a time. So I was like, shit. And then I'm way behind. So I got to catch up. Definitely got to catch up. What's going on, Hank Daisy? Good to see you, buddy. Lime is God tier flavor. Yes, I know. It took me this long to realize, hey, put the lime in the drink, not a lemon. Lemon, you know what? I'll give a little pro tip, especially when you have that one dude giving like his morning routine. Take a little lime, put it in some water, maybe put a good little sea salt in that water too. And you can even add some things like a cayenne pepper. I don't know, some raw apple cider vinegar. That's a drink, a little shot of that to wake up your freaking get your blood flowing in the morning. It's good. It's something that I was like, kind of like saw about, looked into, and I was like, yeah, little lime and water, little apple cider vinegar, even some cinnamon. Get a good little cinnamon, get a good quality cinnamon, put that, just a little pinch of that in there, pinch of sea salt, and some cayenne pepper. That'll get things moving in the morning. I tell you what, because I don't like to drink coffee like right when I get up, but I get a little of that. That'll just like that'll wake up your senses a little bit right there. It is just a little shot of that with some lemon. Get you going. That's why I'm a little morning routine. You hear that, Ashton Hall? I'm not dipping my face in overpriced fucking bottled water. Anyways. Yeah. Whatever. It's okay. It's still good. They're still in a winning record right now. So that's good. Anyways, is that Linda Carter Wonder Woman on your shirt? No. This is Snyderverse stuff. This is one of the Snyderverse shirts right here. So it's Jim Lee. Jim Lee is the one that designed this one right here. So he based it off of course, the Snyderverse versions. But I could see, but it was like loosely based. I mean, obviously you could see that definitely looks like Momoa right there. But so yeah, it's not Linda Carter. So, anyways, James Goon, you're funny. Gunn's cultured. There's like 5 attractive Latinos already in the DCU between Superman and Peacemaker. Yeah, hey, I don't mind the Latinas. I mean, Isabella Merced, she's grown into, and when I see her, I'm like, oh, nice, cool, like her, So, cheers to that. So, yeah, guys, go ahead and ask some more questions. Do all the things and everything. And, we've got some things to talk about. First off, I'm going to talk about my full review of Fight or Flight. Because, yes, it's kind of funny because officially the summer blockbuster season started last week with Thunderbolts. And it's winning the hearts of people out there. Box office is a little slow. It's good, but it's not great for a Marvel Studios movie. I mean, it's hopefully going to be for the better. Like I said, I enjoyed that movie, but it is kind of the beginning of the summer blockbuster season. But it is funny. You get a Marvel Studios movie last week, and then all of a sudden you just like really no movies this week so much. But Fight or Flight, when I saw a clip for that, when I was like, what the hell is this movie? Josh Hartnett is being some kind of badass dude? Cool. And it's a bunch of hitmen on a plane? Sign me the fuck up. And I've been keeping my streak going of seeing a movie every week. I've been trying to make a point to do that, not be lazy. I mean, I could have been lazy yesterday because, like I said, real life work has been kind of kicking my ass. I've had to work some overtime this week. But I was like, nope, not going to miss this movie. So I went and saw it in a cozy little movie theater that I've been going to since I moved to this new location. I went into one of the smaller movie theaters. This is the first time I went to a small movie theater in this new movie theater that's up the road. And it was kind of interesting because I've only been into the big movie theaters, like when I go see a movie by myself. I've been in the big ones. This one was a small one, and it probably seated like 25 people, 30 people. And I was like, you know what? There was something really cozy about this movie theater. It had like the screen was closer, the sound was louder. I don't know. It was kind of cozy. But anyways, Fight or Flight. Go see it if you want to see like just a crazy action movie. These kind of crazy action movies where things don't even make sense. There's backstory that you don't really know about, and then you kind of find out more about. And it's just batshit crazy fight scenes. It's over the top fight scenes. And you got the main actor or actress that just is kind of just, I mean, Josh Hartnett's character, like, you know, he's just where his character is at. And the fact that he's just, of course, it's like the trope of, hey, you know, I'm like this alcoholic that, you know, just drinks and drinks and drinks, but I'm really in shape. It's always funny when you see that trope of like, oh, this guy's an alcoholic. He doesn't care. You know, he just drinks himself to sleep every night, yet he's in great shape. It's like, yeah, but he will work out and eat right. And that's the thing. You want to be, you know, yeah, you just want to be that kind of, you want to be that kind of alcoholic, I guess you could say. You know, you got to find inspiration on that. What do they call that? Jeez, I'm like trying to find the word and my brain is not finding it. But functioning, there you go. Functioning alcoholic. There you go. I mean, I get called alcoholic all the time from like the haters out there. Some of the haters, I've been called that many times. And, you know, but I just go like, yeah, maybe, but I'm functioning. All right. But yeah, I say go watch the movie. If you like these kind of movies, if you like Bullet Train, if you like movies like Crank, you just like those silly, crazy action movies that high concept and just a lot of like, you know, you got needle drops, you got crazy action, you got over the top, you go, oh, that person should be dead, or why the hell, whoa, shit, there's like that, there's this. I mean, they could really build off of it. If you watch the movie, you can understand that they could really build off a franchise when it comes to Fight or Flight. They could really do something with that. But, you know, I'm sure the movie's probably not going to do all that well. People are not going to be rushing out to it. I don't know how much the budget was, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it is a runner up to with Accountant 2. I think Accountant 2 is still my favorite, my most, not my favorite movie of the year, but the most entertaining movie of the year, in my opinion. Like I was more entertained by it just with the back and forth and that action and that world and everything. But I would say Fight or Flight is like right next to it when it comes to entertainment. You know, I gave my little ranking. I mean, Sinners is my favorite movie of the year, just all around. I mean, yeah, entertaining and just structure and all this kind of stuff, and you know, and everything. So, just good stuff. Just good stuff. Go check it out. If you're a Josh Hartnett fan, that's what I love too. It's like, you know, I've been watching Josh Hartnett since when the fuck did he show up the first time? I think what was the first movie you saw Josh Hartnett in? The Faculty? I don't know. Maybe before that. He showed up before that, but The Faculty is what I remember him most. And love that movie. And if you guys really want to, speaking of The Faculty and the director of The Faculty, Mr. Robert Rodriguez, if you want to, you know, do yourself a favor, listen to some of the podcasts that he's been on recently. Rogan, Lex Freeman. Listen to that guy. Listen to that guy talk. That guy, I love Robert Rodriguez. He's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, ever since Desperado. But I would suggest if you are a Robert Rodriguez fan, listen to those podcasts and listen to him talk. Listen to him talk, the passion in the man's voice, the way that he comes up with ideas, the way that he just, you know, the way that he just runs his life, essentially, and being creative. Dude's very inspirational, and it's crazy. I mean, he's been around for over 30 years. I mean, when I first saw Desperado, I was just going, oh, like, holy shit. And I didn't even realize, too, if you think about it, Robert Rodriguez, and they talked about this on Rogan's podcast, Robert Rodriguez is basically the engineer of the walking away as something is blowing up behind the character or characters. That scene of Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek walking on the rooftop when they're walking and there's like an explosion behind them. That was basically the first time that we saw something like that. He was kind of like the engineer. And then everybody started, kind of doing that, obviously in more slow motion, more, cooler ways and everything. But I would say that that's the sexiest walk away from an explosion because you got Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek. My God, just talk about sexy as they walk away from that explosion. And he explains how that was an accident. I don't want to spoil it. Go watch, just listen to him. I mean, even if you're not a Joe Rogan fan, which I know a lot of people aren't, but this is Joe Rogan not doing politics, not doing anything like that. He's letting Robert Rodriguez talks so much in that podcast. And of course, you can watch the Lex. He's a talker. He is a talker. So yeah, go watch that, man. I tell you what, just good stuff. All right. Peacemaker, baby. All right. We got the Peacemaker trailer. We also got another teaser. I don't know if you guys saw the Godzilla X Kong Supernova. We got a little teaser of that too. Of course, we're not going to see that movie for another 2 years, but they are already marketing that one in Supernova. And I'm like, okay, hey, I'll watch it. I'll watch it. Nothing wrong with that. I'll watch it for sure. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Definitely going to watch that. Kind of curious about it. But yeah, let's break down this Peacemaker trailer real quick here, huh? Let's break it down, and because there's some things in there. There's some Easter eggs, and there's some questions, and also, well, I'll get to that at the end because there's something, that was kind of like that people pointed out, and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So let's go ahead and break this down real quick. Let's break it down. Let me make sure I got my background and everything here. Let's see. All right, cool. There we go. We're getting at it here. All right, let's break this trailer down. Come on, Warner Brothers, don't fucking copyright my shit, you assholes. I'm trying to help you. Anyways, all right, here we go.
They're gonna be doing backflips to get you to join.
Okay, all right, right off the bat. Crank Toys. That's right, Crank Toys. Already an Easter egg right at the beginning because Crank Toys is very much, I get, it's been a sign or like a toy. Literally been, you've seen it in the DC universe. A lot of people are passing around like, I think it was Arkham City, might've been Arkham City, but yeah, they're passing around screenshots of Crank Toys very much being part of the DC universe, Gotham and whatnot. So already off the bat, Easter egg right there, DC universe. Hey, Crank Toys.
Doing backflips to get you to join.
Welcome, Peacemaker, or do you prefer Chris?
What? Who is that guy?
Or do you prefer Chris?
There he is. There's Max Lord himself. That doesn't look like Pedro Pascal. What? It could be good. Or what does he say? It's good, but can be better. I don't know. I like Pedro Pascal as Max Lord, especially when he said that line. I think I actually still have that drop. And I should have had it like ready already, especially when it came to seeing this. Maybe I got rid of it. I might have gotten. Oh no, I didn't.
It's good, but it can be better.
There you go. So it's just wow, what a stark difference between Max Lords between the two universes, right? We got good old Sean Gunn right here. Hey, he looks like a douche. He definitely looks like a douchey type of Max Lord right here. But yeah, it was like, oh shit, we finally got our first look at Sean Gunn as Max Lord.
Chris, either's fine. Can you tell us a little about your...
What? We got the Justice Gang right here. That's right. We got good old fucking bold cut dickhead over here, Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, and then of course we got Hawk Girl over here, and yeah, Miss Isabella Merced. So whoa, already it was like, hey, wow, we already got crossovers happening. Interesting.
Your skills.
I'm considered the finest marksman in the world.
The mic is off.
Yeah.
I am also proficient in hand-to-hand combat.
How many more of these do we have today?
Is that popcorn still here?
You love popcorn.
My butt's getting really big lately, so.
I have a variety of helmets.
This guy sucks.
Excuse me? Am I supposed to be able to hear you guys?
Excuse me?
Oops. Yeah, so we have that like little jokey kind of thing right here. So it is kind of interesting because now I'm kind of wondering exactly where in the show. Is this at the beginning of the show where he's trying to get a part of this? Is this towards the end? Is it? I don't know. There's a lot of questions already where it's like, okay, where? But then again, what's her name dropped her off. So it almost seems like this is at the beginning of the series. I don't know.
You were talking about your butt and stuff.
Was she talking about her butt and stuff?
And also you said that I suck.
Good Lord.
It is not funny.
I don't get it. We saved the world.
I thought everyone would finally treat us.
There he is.
Everyone would finally treat us
Like heroes.
No,
I
of
don't
course
need
not. Why would
anybody
they?
else to just boy.
Apparently she works at Jitters. If you see right there, Kia right here works at Jitters Coffee, and apparently this is in Metropolis, possibly in Metropolis. So you can see right there, she's working at Jitters
Else
Coffee.
to just forge my own path.
You're living in the worst level of Grand Theft Auto.
And then of course we got Hardcore.
I come to the conclusion
Oh,
you
bad.
suffer from a particularly severe form of toxic masculinity.
What?
That's just her mad at James Gunn right there for putting her in all the movies. That's what that is right there. She's just upset with her husband.
Argus has been monitoring Peacemaker ever since Rick
Argus.
Flag Sr. was named director.
Hey, there he is, Mr. Frank Grillo, Mr. Senior, Mr.
You know that I am.
Kill this time? Yep.
Okay, so obviously that's going to be a story point. We already knew that there's going to be some revenge when it comes to Rick Flag Sr. and the fact that Peacemaker killed his son.
Bring me, Peacemaker.
Mexicali.
And I love that. I forgot that Tim Meadows, good old Tim Meadows, is in this season. Tim Meadows, of course, Saturday Night Live alumni, you know. And what was his character? His character was like, he had that character. Fuck, I forgot what his character's name. They made a movie off of it, but I can't remember what the character's name was. God damn it. I'm drawing a blank right now. Like I said, long week, guys.
Callie, you scan for any anomalies throughout that house. Pony boy, don't let him out of your sight. Titties, I want you to take the front door. Encino man, you take the back door. Got it?
Yeah, but not the fucking names, dude. You can't just call us that.
Where do you think we are? Fucking Berkeley?
He called her titties. Wow.
We haven't always been great people. But
We are the 11th Street Kids. No one will ever break us apart.
What? Is that Apache Chief right there? What? Oh man. And that's what's his name? Sorry, I cannot remember names right now. So you guys need to help me. My brain is just totally ladies, man. Thank you, Travis Snell. Mr. Travis, God damn, I can't remember his name, but you've obviously recognized. Somebody help me in the chat. Michael Rooker, thank you. My God, my brain is fried right now. But yeah, so this is kind of cool, and it almost seems like. But then, of course, there's been different type of like kind of like characters like this. I know somebody tagged me in something where it might not be Apache Chief. Obviously, the Apache Chief gets like really big and huge. He was in Super Friends. So yeah, but Michael Rooker right there. So kind of interesting what's going on. It looks like he almost has a bullet to his head right there. See, right? That's the thing. They are in the room with all those little pocket universes right here. So it's like, what is happening?
ready for the next adventure, pal?
There's Eagly, of course. And then here's me. waiting for the Amazon guy to drop off my package, take the picture, and walk back to his truck before I go retrieve it. That's exactly what I look like right there. Me and my whitey tighties holding onto the doorknob, waiting for him to just, hey, walk away, so I can grab, the package you left before I grab mine. What? Oh my God. So we got two, not one, but two Peacemakers. Is this how they handle the whole changing of the universes? Is one the DCU Peacemaker and one's the DCEU Peacemaker? That's what's kind of interesting right here. But yes, this helmet is definitely different.
Who the fuck are you?
Ooh, okay. And let's see, there's some things right here. I mean, obviously you could probably just pick apart this room right here. But yeah, it is kind of interesting. And then of course, this is not the same scene, by the way. This is they do that trailer thing. They do that trailer thing where they go like, oh yeah, here's like a scene. We're going to intercut two different things to just, essentially Peacemaker right here. He's in the Monsters Inc. fucking warehouse or whatever, about to walk through someone's closet. That's what's so funny about like the layout of the whole Pocket universe. Kind of reminds me of Monsters Inc. a little bit. But obviously he's wearing like he's wearing a shirt with a tiger on it. But then when he goes through here, he's not wearing that same shirt, and I don't think he's in his whitey tighties anymore. So, yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
There you go. And yeah, you could see like his dad's helmet in there and everything. So, yeah. So it's been confirmed that Peacemaker takes place in the Monsters Pixar universe. Anyways. Yeah, so there you go. It's an interesting trailer. And then you kind of go like, all right, so right off the bat, we have crossover. We have the Justice Gang, the Lord Justice League, I guess you could say. And yeah, that's what's kind of interesting. That's what everybody was like, oh, wow, did not expect that. Cool. Isabella Merced, again, she's just killing it right now with Last of Us and then this. And yeah, I'm very intrigued because I did not think I was going to enjoy the first Peacemaker season, but I did. I was like, okay, I actually kind of enjoy this. I don't enjoy all the humor. Sure. But at the same time, there was some heart to it. There was some interesting storytelling to it where I went, okay, yeah, all the jokes don't exactly land 100%. But then I just, for the most part, I was like, okay, I actually enjoyed that. Specifically after the Suicide Squad, where I went, they were going to make a series off of Peacemaker? That makes no fucking sense. But they made it make sense. Gunn and crew made it make sense. So cool. I don't mind that. So, but what's interesting too, guys, yeah, I know a lot of people, I don't know, people were kind of pointing this out right here. Oh, I had to share my window again. But, trending number 2 on YouTube right now. That's right. People like that John Cena guy, apparently. And I'm not just saying that because he like followed me like 3 weeks ago. No, I'm not trying to kiss that, that muscular butt cheek that he has. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying people like John Cena. People do. And he does a good job of, creating that. But, if he follows you on Twitter, it's just like, oh, that's cool. But then it's like he follows so many people on Twitter. It's a marketing thing. Totally get it. That's why I was like, hey, that's cool. He followed. I'm like, yeah, but he follows everybody. So I'm not like going to sit there and try to fucking message. Even though that the invitation is out there, Johnny C, the invitation's out there. You want to come on the Vodka stream, pour yourself a little drink and have a conversation? Hey, you're welcome to it. I would gladly welcome John Cena to the Vodka stream for sure. Seems like he probably enjoys some vodka, especially he was trying to watch his girlish figure, having a vodka soda. That's low cal, baby, low cal. So But yeah, it's trending number 2. I'm just going to show you that John Cena is very well liked. He's very well liked. And very much kind of curious to see. I mean, who knows who else is going to show up? I know a lot of people are wondering, hey, is Superman going to be showing up in Peacemaker? I mean, there's always a possibility. Now that James Gunn can fully play with the toys that he's given, unlike the first season where he couldn't play with all the toys, he was forbidden to play with some of the toys. When it came to the season finale of Peacemaker, season 1, when he was trying to play with all the toys, he wanted the whole Justice League to be showing up right there, but they didn't allow Batman and Cyborg. And so that was kind of interesting. But it's going to be interesting to see if, who's going to show up in here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if certain, given that it's Peacemaker, I would probably put my money more on Luthor than Superman, maybe. I don't know. We'll come back here after August or after the season's done and see if that's predicting correct. So there you go. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I forgot to turn on some of my other lights here. Forgot to, but no, that trailer looks really good. It looks really good. So, all right, really enjoyed that trailer. But yeah, just very curious when it comes to certain things when it comes to that. But it seems like that could be the way that they do but then at the same time, it's like that leaves it open for DCEU. That's why I would never rule out like a Henry Cavill or a Ben Affleck or a Gal Gadot or anybody just like showing up. I would not rule it out of any of those guys showing up when it comes to Peacemaker. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, especially with the whole Ben Affleck, that on the red carpet. I never rule out that there's always a possibility that. Sorry if it got dark right now. I'm sending out the invites. I never rule out the possibility. I don't think he was like, I shouldn't rule out the possibility either. After all the stuff he's been saying, right? He's over. He's not about the genre anymore. I'm not Batman. It's like, yeah, stop saying it, dude. You'll always come back to the bat. Michael Keaton came back to the bat. You always got to come back to the bat. You got to come back to the bat, man. Got to come back to the bat. All right, let me see what some of you guys are saying before we start bringing some people over. Let's see. Yeah, Michael Rooker. Yeah, like I said, names are just totally just, I blank out on names. I was researching. There's a character called Snowflame who does have a blue flame power. He was on Harley Quinn animated show too. On Wiki, he crossed paths with Peacemaker. So that could be it too. Again, James Gunn knows his obscure characters. This is why he's running the show right now. This is why he's running the show right now. This is why, I mean, I know people just have like a derangement syndrome and they can't stand him. And every time they see him and they want to just shit on everything that he's doing. But I'm like going, but if you want somebody that's going to be on the creative side of DC Studios, you want somebody who's going to, essentially he's going to have the unique knowledge of all this stuff. And it seems like, James Gunn has this new unique knowledge of everything. I mean, I've seen people going like, oh yeah, he's a fake comic book enthusiast. I'm going, I don't know about that. Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like he's fake at all. So doesn't seem like he's fake at all. So yeah, I don't know. Again, love him or hate him. It just seems like if you want somebody who's got a unique knowledge of the universe, there it is right there. So he might, it probably is an Apache chief. It probably is somebody like that, but that shot looked cool. I feel you, Dave. I hate wearing pants. This I am skirts and dresses. There you go. I mean, not me so much. Every now and again, a skirt, but hey, depends on the mood. But no, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. I'm a board shorts guy. Love the board shorts. Monsters Inc. Yeah, oh my God, it didn't connect. I know, right? That's what it kind of reminded me of, like having all the doors to all the different universes. I was like, kind of like Monsters Inc. So, do you take the door from? Oh yeah, see, there could be like a little Shazam thing. Didn't even think about that. I forgot about that. They had the doors in their little universe and all the interdimensional stuff right there too. So, a lot of little things right there. So. Bro, John Cena follows everyone. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't. When I saw it, I mean, I made a joke about it on Film Junkie Live. I made the joke, of course, the joke of like, hey guys, I got followed by 2 people this morning, but I can't see one of them. You know, did the whole John Cena thing. You know, but yeah, he does it because John Cena. I mean, John Cena has the most make-a-wishes, I guess you could say. The dude goes above and beyond. And he's just a sweetheart of a man. Just seems like, yeah, no, I need to make a cameo. Maybe if like me and John Cena become besties, could happen. Do I play video games? I do, but not frequently. I have one of those, like if I do start diving into video games again, 5 or 6 hours will go by and I'll be like, what the hell just happened? So that's why I don't really play them consistently. Especially when it comes to, you know, I've talked about, I played the Arkham games, and one of my old roommates, we had a PlayStation 4. We had the Arkham games, and yes, I would play 5, 6 hours, 7 hours at a time. And it's just kind of hard to do that now when you're trying to, like, you know, post things, you're trying to do normal work, you're trying to just do a lot of things, you know. Basically, it feels like I have 3 different jobs already. So if I inject that into the life, holy shit. My girlfriend in high school, like John Cena, I didn't know who the fuck he was. Yeah. Well, now you do. Now you do. They could have Peacemaker see the news channel on the other Earth. There's footage of David Cornsweat Superman. Yeah. See, it's going to be interesting the way that they tie everything up, and I'm sure that it's going to be. It's going to be interesting. So, what's going on, Cortez? Have you heard about the Thunderbolts director possibly directing the? Yes, I saw that, and I even tweeted it out where I was like, "Whoa, I guess Thunderbolts was kind of an audition for that." But at the same time, I also saw somebody post, and this is a scooper, of course, so take it with a grain of salt. But I saw somebody go like, "You'll not even imagine who passed up on." Directing these X-Men movies. There's other potential directors that were probably more known that passed up on it. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting tweet to put out there. I mean, God knows if you know, again, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, but it was like, oh wow, I wonder who actually did pass up on those. But at the same time, I mean, there's going to be like good directors that are going to be like, I don't want to do this. I mean, there was a time where everybody was rushing to do superhero movies, but it's not really like that anymore. That's the thing. It's like it's not really like that anymore. So you gotta make sure it's like, okay, if you are gonna try to get some good talent out there, you gotta make it look like, hey, we're gonna allow you to do what you want to do. You have a signature voice. We want you to bring that over here. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the studio's full, and sometimes they don't do that. And sometimes they just bring, like, you know, a director for hire. We're looking at you, Peyton Reed. That just kind of, you know, just does like, hey, you know, do what you're told and kind of thing, you know. But you have somebody like Sam Raimi going into the Marvel Studios universe. He put his stamp on it, even if he had to abide by the rules of Marvel Studios. But, you know, that's what I'm hoping that when it comes to the DCU, and it sounds like that's what James Gunn is trying to put out there, it's like, yeah, even though he's going to overlook all the scripts and all the stuff and give notes, he's still going to allow the directors and the writers to do their thing, you know, hopefully. And hopefully he doesn't, you know, turn into a tyrant or something like that. I know some people are already saying that that's already the case, that he's just in full control and it's all him. Sure, go ahead. All right, fine. Believe that? Fine. If Henry, Ben, and Gal wanted on the Vodka stream, would you say no? Hell, fuck no. I would. Are you kidding me? That would be awesome. That'd be great. I would gladly to have the Trinity on the Vodka stream. That'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing. I'd be shitting myself if that were to happen. Man, I would love, I mean, Jesus Christ, the questions and the stories and all the stuff. And then I get that Zack Snyder guy to be like, hey, guess what, guy? You want to show up on this? This could be a good spot to like make an appearance, which is always fun because, you know, Zach's done that before. He's made some cameos on here. Let's see. Oh, you talk about, oh yeah, video games. Yeah, I don't play them consistently. I'll play like some Mario Kart. I'll play some things on my phone. Just nothing that is going to consume me. You know, role play RPGs, man. Those will consume me. So, yeah, but I like fighting games and all that stuff. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Rational Skeptic. Do you think Viola Davis and Margot Robbie will appear in this? Viola Davis, 100%. Margot Robbie, no. I don't think that she would make an appearance. It would be crazy if she did, but I mean, Viola Davis, I think she could easily, you know, just video call in like she did in the first season, because that is her her daughter. That's her daughter, right? What's her name's like her daughter. So I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. Let's see. He grew up in my hometown. Oh, you talking about Cena? John Cena? I'm sure you didn't see him around, right? Just cancel Batman 2 at this point. No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. Only director I knew about was Ryan Coogler, nobody else. And he turned down doing one of the adventure movies, if you remember that. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, like I said. But, yeah, I forgot what's the director's name that directed Thunderbolts. I mean, I think that, they said he's in talks. It's not like official yet, but, you know, could be it just could be one of those things like, hey, let's put that out there and see how everybody reacts. But you already have one. You might as well do, if you're going to, and I think a lot of people thought, you know, he did kind of nail the aspect of a group that are, you know, that suffer from depression or social anxiety or something like that. I mean, he already kind of nailed that, and X-Men are heavily, you know, the X-Men is just like, you know, you bump that up a couple more levels and it's pretty much, you know, I think that was a good audition for him for sure. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if he does that. But all right, let's start bringing some peeps on here and having some conversations about everything. First off, we got the ladies' man right here. We got Travis.
Ooh,
What is
it's a
happening?
lady.
Ooh, what's happening?
I feel like not much. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good.
It's hot.
Yeah,
That's about
I feel
it.
like when I was in whenever that movie came out, I was like the only person that saw that movie that I knew in
Right.
life. I don't think I've met a person like I'm pretty sure it probably bombed. I have to imagine,
did.
right? Because that's
It
an
did.
SNL character that I think like people like, but it's not like Wayne's World that was uber popular. But I loved that movie like a guilty pleasure. So I should go back and watch it. But Tim
Ooh,
Meadows, that was my
Yeah.
favorite thing about that Peacemaker trailer. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was fantastic. So
Yeah, when he's calling everybody just random names. He's just like Pony Boy.
Titties, yeah.
But-
We all
and
good?
then
Yeah, but the
Encino
names.
Man.
You can't call us that. Yeah, it's just I think he's so good. I saw someone else show in the chat. The Dewey Cox story when he plays like a drug
Oh, yeah.
addict. He's
Yeah.
so good at the straight line delivery as
Uh-huh.
far as it sounds like it's a serious actor in it, but he has just a small enough inflection that there's like some sarcasticness. It's great. So I didn't know he was in that until today, until I saw I think a photo or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm excited for that. And also because I heard you talking, it wasn't a scooper that said that about the X-Men directors. It was Rob Liefeld that said that about
Oh,
the
that's
X-Men
right. It
directors.
was Rob
Yeah.
Liefeld. Ah, yeah.
So that's why people
right.
called it into question though, because they're like, do we think he actually knows anything that's going
Yeah.
on right now if he's not in the premiere? But yeah, I think Scoopers picked it up, but he's the one that said, yeah, who knows? And I'm sure some people turned down. Like I'm sure like there's
course.
someone's in the chat. There's been rumors for a while with Coogler, and sure I would have loved Coogler, but I think he's doing BP3 and then he's on his own for a bit now. You know, I think he's gonna finish off that
he
trilogy.
needs to take a break from the world. I mean, I'm like, dude, complete your trilogy, go out
Yeah.
with a bang, and then give us some more, produce some more Sinners spin-offs, because that shit's gonna be happening.
Yeah, he's
but
doing the
then
Nolan thing. Nolan came back and finished Rises,
Yes.
and then he never did again. I think Coogler will be kind of the same. I know he's doing X-Files, but I bet there's not much like heavy IP in his future. in my
No.
opinion, you know?
I mean, he's doing X-Files, but I mean, I'm sure he'll direct whatever, some
Yeah, like an
things, but
episode or
he'll
two.
hand it off to other people, and he'll be like a showrunner or whatever the hell,
Yeah.
overlook a lot of things, but no, he just needs to do that and then like come up with, so I mean, yeah, I want that dude to like, hey, what else you got? What else you got in your fucking head of yours, man? Like let us know, and then expand on the world that you just gave us, right? There's so much they could do with that Sinners world, just because you saw it, right?
Oh yeah, I loved it. That's my 1A movie of the year. My 1B is not a guilty pleasure, but I love Wallace and Gromit, and there was a new one that came out this year, so it's kind of tied because that's like a sentimental thing for me, and it was just actually still very well done. I have, where is it, the villain of that movie, Feathers McGraw. He's a penguin that disguises himself as a chicken. So he came back. They've never done a sequel in Wallace Gromit. They did a sequel this year where he broke out of prison. And but yeah, other than that, like film wise, it's my actual favorite movie of the year. It was fantastic.
Seriously.
Yeah,
I know, just the way that I don't know, just the way that he, again, it's like you could just have, it's vampires. We've heard the tale over and over again, but just to add that much depth to like characters and just, and then what I was saying too at the beginning of the stream is, I was talking about Robert Rodriguez, and obviously his From Dusk Till Dawn. I mean, there is inspiration there, 100%. I would say, obviously, Coogler took it to another level, 100%. But just the fact that, I mean, I remember like even like on the Rogan podcast when they're talking about it, and they brought it up as like, that's like two different movies. And he said that was the reason why that a lot of studios passed up on it. They were like, wait, this is a vampire movie, but why for like the first 30 pages is there no fucking vampire? There's there's like this whole other story about these brothers, and one's a psycho, and they kidnap this family in Winnebago. What the fuck? Like they passed it up.
This movie, until you have like there's a spinoff I would take of like the Native Americans that are hunting the vampires. That's what I take. But until you get that, and there's like a few other flashes, it feels just like an Academy Award movie that's dealing with slavery and ownership and just the politics of, two now black men owning a piece of land in an area that is not so good. And really up until the third act, it plays like an Oscar movie. And I actually do think it's going to get nominated for Best Picture. I think if Substance did it last year,
you know what? It could have opened doors. Yeah, you're right.
I think, and Substance to me is way more niche than Sinners, right? Like to me, Substance, I still meet many people that haven't seen Substance, but Sinners, that's like a culture moment. Obviously, it's not like $1 billion movie, but I just think every year they have that one in there that's like, it's not going to win, but it's the most buzzed about movie. And I feel like Sinners is going to get that slot. And I'm pretty sure Coogler, didn't he get nominated for Black Panther already? Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember if he actually got nominated.
Did they actually nominate him?
Because obviously the movie did, but I can't remember if he got it or not.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But you could be onto something, because the difference between Substance and Sinners is everybody's talking about Sinners. People didn't go see Substance in the movie theaters. Everybody was watching it after. And then I've heard so many people go, why the fuck was the buzz about this movie? This movie was fucking just weird. And people were going like, the way that it ends with the gruesome freaking, it was like, I was like, well, that's why I loved it. I thought that's what was great about it. But
me too. I have no problems with the ending. I know so many people that they think that ending, it drops off. To me, because what I liked about the ending, I feel like that type of stuff is always what they tease, but then they don't go through with it because like, oh, okay, it's not realistic enough, or it's too wild, it's too out there. But I like that they're like, no, we're gonna go balls to the walls and just have this gross, really over the top ending. And it's not like a dream, it's not anything like that. It's like, no, it actually happened, and that's how the movie ended. So
that's the way it happens, and we're gonna have Demi Moore's face just plop right onto that star. Something like that. It's like there's just such good stuff. And hey, someone wore his X-Men shirt tonight. He understood what was happening. What's happening, Chris?
I mean, I've seen enough clips of the ladies' man to know and loved it in SNL to say I'm here to answer everyone's all their lovely queries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff.
That's disgusting. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Stuff like
and to
that.
follow up, Coogler did not get nominated for directing back then.
Okay,
so
of
there you go.
course.
So just producer, obviously, for the movie, but so maybe
Yeah.
they'll do it this year. Who knows? But no,
That would be
they'll
pretty
snub 'em.
sweet. If that happens, that's gonna be like that'll be like Anywhere, Everything, All at Once, because that remember am I saying it right? I always
Yeah,
feel like I'm always
everything,
saying it wrong.
everywhere,
All at
everything,
once.
everywhere, all at once.
Yes, I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, even though I love the movie and I've seen it like
Yeah.
4 or 5 times. But that movie came out early in the year, that year too. What, 2023, 2022?
Yeah, it came out in
whenever it was?
March. Yeah.
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 So, and a lot of times movies early on, they, you have to release them like come October
Mhm.
and everything. But so it is kind of interesting, like that, same thing coming out in March. But I would not be surprised. And I hope you're right, Travis. I'm like, please nominate the shit out of this, because it's just shot and plays out so well directed, well acted. I mean, Michael B. Jordan getting nominated. He should, because he played 2 different roles. I mean,
Yeah, I love
obviously they're
that,
twin
yeah.
brothers,
Yeah.
but they were distinct. To where my dad was confused, like, wait a minute, is that the same guy? I was like, yes,
Yeah.
Dad.
The Academy has to look beyond like the genre itself.
They really got to do that.
Yes.
And that's where we get into the whole debate of, why aren't comedies? Why don't they have a separate category for comedies like the Golden Globes things? And I hate I'm promoting the Golden Globes necessarily. That's a whole different issue. But horror itself or suspense, it's still not.
Yeah.
They can't. The members of the Academy, at least the ones who seem to control more of the voting at this point, just can't get past the genre itself. So how dare a horror movie get in when
Yeah.
the real idea of what film is like you said, the cinematography outstanding, the script, the dialogue, the acting, like that's the essence of the film. Look,
I think the
genre
score is a
just
shoe-in
secondary.
too.
The score.
Oh,
The
my
score is
goodness.
a
Score.
shoe for a nomination. To me,
And the
I
fact
think
that
it's
it's
like
got-
directing, score, and production. Those are the ones I
Yeah.
think it has a
Yeah.
real shot at getting. The acting, you never know, because they might
What do you
view it's
mean?
like Demi Moore got it too, right? But like
Yeah.
at the same time, with Moore, I don't know. I know it sounds bad, but did they really give it to her? Or was that like a career one? Because they didn't give Margot Qualley a
could've been.
nomination. Who Margot Qualley
been.
should have got nominated as well. Like
Yeah.
she was.
Well, it brings up
half
the
of that
whole
movie.
Denzel Washington thing. He, not taking away what he did in Training Day, but there are so many other things that he instead of being a corrupt cop, you know.
Yeah, it's always weird, like especially when veteran actors don't get. I mean, how many times did Leo get nominated and then he wins for the Revenant?
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, that was a great movie and it was a great performance, but at the same time, I'm going. I mean, he just kind of survived the elements. It was a lot of grunting and yelling and all this stuff.
He
I
ate
mean,
meat too. He's a vegetarian who ate meat. So there you go.
He got molested by a bear.
I was
Yeah.
about
And
to
I mean,
say,
that got him the
Bear
Oscar.
had some fun.
Yeah, I think it was just a weaker year, and I think everyone
It
realized
was.
like he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street, or he should have won for Django. I thought because I know Christoph
was
Waltz
great.
won that year,
Yeah,
but
Django was a good
I
one,
still
too.
liked Leo more than Waltz in that movie, and I thought he should have got it, but
Yeah.
he got it.
No,
He's
I
there.
mean, that's the thing. It's like, and when people, every year when you see that stuff, it's like, hey, again, you have nominations and then you have a winner, and then when you look back and you go, well, why didn't this person, why didn't this actor or actress win for this specific role? Then you have to pull up, well, what were they up against?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of hard. It's like, yeah, sometimes timing is everything.
Well, yeah.
It's like.
Each year is about like whether it's the political system or just the social system. Like if a movie maybe it doesn't have like it's not the best actor, but if the tale goes more into it, or it is like a legacy win that plays into it. I mean, like what Chris was talking about, where I think in like 20 to 30 years, because you have a lot more younger Academy voters, I think that's why we will get more horror. Where something I liked last year, Maxine came out, and I really enjoyed that movie. But they talked about because Maxine, the character, gets a role in a horror movie because she's doing adult films before that, and she's like, yeah, I'm moving up adult, like I'm doing a horror movie, and they're like, oh, that's pretty much the same thing. And you gotta think like in the 70s, 80s, a lot of those people that came up in Hollywood, horror was looked down upon. It's like that it's like adult film and then horror right after. Like horror was schlocky, horror was cheap. Like even though tons of people like a Jamie Lee Curtis and other people like Kevin Bacon, they broke out from horror in the 70s and 80s. It was looked as like, that's a cheap brand, like that's a cheap genre. Like you're not really an actor, because again, there is like that is the easiest film to make as an independent director, right? As a horror film, because you can kind of do some ideas and throw some things out there and get a little creative with angles and shots and what's in the dark. But I think that's why maybe in 20 years you'll get more horror, and then it's just a question of when we'll get more sci-fi and stuff too. That's another thing, because like same thing, we talk about Coogler. Denis still hasn't even been nominated either, so I don't think Coogler's a shoe-in yet either, and Denis should have been. And I like even myself, I loved the movie Anora, but I would have put what Denis did over Sean Baker, but it's just the time. It's just the timing, and that guy had the momentum of film.
One performance last year that should have got more attention, and I think a lot of people are coming. Naomi Scott in Smile 2. Holy shit!
Oh yeah,
that was like when I finally watched that. I didn't watch it in the movie theater. I wish I did. I enjoyed the first Smile movie. I would say the second one's better, and just because of her performance. Her performance, I mean. That performance should be studied of like, okay, yeah, when people go, oh yeah, it's horror, it's whatever. Just watch that performance and go, this girl acted her fucking ass off in like scenes where she's just losing her shit and doing. I'm like going, it was like, okay, she get her in that right director and that right role, she's gonna end up getting nominated later on. Mm-hmm. Where I'm just kind of going, yeah, she probably did better. Probably one of the best performances of last year, and it was for a movie called Smile 2 about a demon that possesses people and makes them smile and blah blah blah. Yeah, sounds ridiculous,
wait till they see the ripoff Wink, right?
Yeah, it's like Smile Wink, but with a wink.
Yeah, I like it. What's going on, William?
Wow. You start off with the Oscars.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
Big time.
Other than
your favorite topic, William, you love it.
Other than something that is designed to be a comedy, I can't fathom a bigger joke than the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. I would rather watch repeats of SCTV than waste any time watching the Oscars. It's become a joke, SCTV. And now with the revelations of some of these jackasses don't even watch. As far as Sinners goes, sure, Sinners probably should be nominated, probably should be a contender. I don't think it has a chance in hell, and that pains me to say that. There's only been 2 movies that I can remember that were released in this particular time of year that either came close to winning. That was Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was released in March, and Silence of the Lambs. There may be others.
Dune last year.
But she had a chance of winning. The problem.
I see. I think meant nominated. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If it gets nominated, if it comes out in March, these brain dead fucks are gonna forget about that. You look at the history. Like I said, I can count them on 2 fingers. I could be missing out on a bunch of them, but I used to watch the Oscars religiously until how you grow out of your diapers, right? I grew out of the Oscars because you just start realizing it's a joke. Gladiator 2000. I'm sorry, but how do you give all those awards to Gladiator and Ridley Scott doesn't get anything? And I saw Traffic. Traffic is a good movie. Gladiator is a great movie, and the director was a major part of that. And then as the years go on, it's a joke. And now you hear that they don't even watch half the movies. They let their assistants or they push play and they go out and play golf. They're having to make rules.
That's not going to change anything. Like that whole watching system. People are going to watch it whether they want to or not. So
if you don't take it seriously, if you are the Academy and you don't take it seriously, why should I refer to the Oscars as anything but literally the second thing to a cold open on Saturday Night Live?
Because for the industry, it's big though, right? You get that name, you get that clout, people's pay go up, and on the whole, like who knows how they win these awards, right? But for people that do put in the hard work, I like to see the speeches. They get to be celebrated. There's always some fun moments there.
Most of them end up being nobodies though.
It's nothing that I take super serious. And that is correct for I think definitely the last 10, 15 years. It's been going down. Before it wasn't like that. But at the same time, it's still something I enjoy, but it's not something I'll like actually put stock in as far as like this is who I think is the prime actor this year. That's not like, I think it's been tough for a while. And like you said, I'm kind of with you on any film that wins Best Picture. If it doesn't win Best Director, it doesn't really ever make sense to me. Like,
I mean,
that to me is a 1-in-1 award. Like,
I mean, look at Argo. Argo
Yes,
won that one year.
Affleck
Ben
should've
Affleck
got
wasn't
that.
even nominated. He wasn't even nominated. And it was like, how do you just do that? I mean, he still produces, so I think he was a producer on there too, so he was still able to get the statue. But at the same time, it's just like, it's crazy. Didn't that happen this year too, where like a director didn't get nominated, but his movie did? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Dune. Wasn't it Dune?
Yeah,
well,
it
it's
was
Dune.
Dune.
Yeah, well,
that's right. Denny.
just-
He didn't get nominated.
There's at least 5 because the
Yeah.
Oscars were 10 and there's only 5 director slots. So
That's
there's
true.
always going to be cut out and stuff. And again, I'll clarify. I don't think Sinners is going to win. I just think it's getting a nomination. I'm not saying it's going to win.
Now, if Sinners was released
gonna
in late
happen.
September, early October, I think Sinners would have a great chance. But
But it's
because
so
these
early.
guys
Yeah.
they can't lace together enough brain cells to come from March from February, then it's a problem. And I think that's bullshit. If you release the greatest movie of the year on January 1st of the year, and it's the best movie, then it should have just as much chance.
Yes,
It's something that
agree.
you shouldn't have to cater, to somebody who, I can't remember anything past October. That's stupid. So yeah, the whole and the nominating process is as big a joke as this ceremony. I watched Nora the other day, right? I fucking forced myself. I watched that movie, and I also
why'd
watched.
you
I
force
watched.
yourself?
I watched because I needed to see, because I saw the substance, and I'm like,
Did you have
between
like
the
the
two movies.
whole like things with your eyes to keep it open with the eye drops?
No,
and everything?
because Nora wasn't a bad movie in any respect. Not my jam. Not a bad. But the substance was, when I now that I have seen both of those movies, I can't understand what happened there. And then when I hear shit that, oh well, I gave it to my dog to fucking watch the movie, and he just press play with his paw. I start hearing things like that, and it undermines the importance of it. I start asking,
You're
okay,
right.
well,
You're
some
totally
of these
right.
movies that have been nominated and released, these are jokes as I watched you announce the name. Some of these movies I didn't even hear of until the night of the damn Oscars, and they're winning. So now when you put that with, okay, well, you have to make rules for you to do what you should be honored to do, which is vote for the Academy. The whole thing's a joke.
Well, that's the one thing we talk about, like not knowing the movies till like the night before and stuff. Like it's funny this week when all that Kevin Feige news came out about like all the MCU's like it's fan club and no one can get in. That's just the Oscars in general now, right? Like that's why the ratings are down, because it's a push and pull, because it does feel very like, well, this is film, and I don't mind that. I think there is a difference between a film and a movie, but I think the Oscars have really become like an exclusive club. Like, oh, you didn't watch this movie that made $600,000 the first 3 months it was out. It's like,
And it's
no.
3 hours and 57 minutes.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Yeah,
but,
it's like,
yeah. So that's definitely the case.
it's like
which
you
I
have
think-
to have it. Like, but at the same time, I mean, I'm glad that they're finally going to be acknowledging the stunt community, because I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, those guys are putting their fucking literal lives on the line for the main characters, for the main actors, and yeah. Animation gets pretty well represented, which is great. But then, yeah, like stuff like comedies and horror movies, they kind of get left off when it's really difficult to make a comedy. I mean, come on, it can be very difficult to make a comedy work. And when those comedies do work, like throughout, where it's the whole theater is consistently laughing. I mean, you can make stuff where you just go, all right, I chuckled like twice. What the fuck, It's not easy to do comedies either.
How many of these movies would have actually won if some of these people were actually watching? And then the criteria that they use to pick winners. I'm going to give you an example of 2 movies that I really, really like that were up for a best special effects award. All right, I like The Creator, and I love Godzilla -1. The award is not, wow, you did really good for the amount of money you had.
Here's the
No,
participation.
the award was for best visual effects.
Yeah.
All right, there are times when I'm watching Godzilla -1, a movie I love, where I can clearly see that there are some coupons being clipped here.
Yeah.
So if you want to create an award for that, that's fine. But that's not what they do. And then you're sitting there scratching your head. And then sometimes I just usually walk away like, difference of opinion. But when I hear some of this stuff and I see the patterns of how they've done stuff, and I used to grow up watching this with the family as a kid, and I grew up watching The Last Emperor, and I'm like, okay, how the fuck did this win 10 Oscars? Then I'm like, okay. But then you look at the history, and then they said this isn't new. They have been shitting, doing this since the 80s, this whole half-assed voting thing since the 80s. So here we are in 2025. Why should I? The only time I've really paid attention in the last 5 years to the Oscars is when Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock.
Yeah.
That was it. I had taken a break from the Oscars, and somebody texted me, "Hey, you see what's happening on the Oscars?" I tuned in. I tuned the fuck out. Because that's that, they want to listen, and they don't want to change it. That's fine. You want to make an Insiders Club thing? Give me back the MTV Movie Awards again. Make that #1 or something. Because
seriously, those are always fun.
What's
those
your best kiss
fun.
of the year, William, for 2025? What movie had the best kiss?
There it is.
Hey, you know what? Those people watch the movies.
Well, okay. I'm just saying that Sinners probably would have a best kiss. I mean, I would say exactly a kiss. The whole drool thing was kind of.
Oh, that was nasty.
Yeah.
I was eating. I was eating when they said, "You want some?" I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, and that's a good time to welcome Phil right now.
You want some, Phil?
I just woke up. I don't even know what I want.
Took a little nap, huh?
Yeah. After my show, I just knocked the fuck out. I checked my notifications. I didn't see your message, which is like, what the fuck, phone? Thanks.
Yeah, but you got the link because it's normal.
Yeah. So I checked my phone again, and the Instagram message is like, oh, there it is. That's nice. So
you may not get that notification, dude. We were at the end of our show one night, and he got a notification that I was live.
Notifications are not reliable. Yeah, they're not reliable.
Travis, we're twins.
Oh man, you got rid of the hair.
Whoa.
Yeah, I saw that today, man. He went corporate.
How long's that been?
Man,
I had that same Phil. I was wearing that same shirt today.
Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, it hit 100 today here in NorCal.
Yes.
So I was like,
friggin' hot.
Wow, dude, it was 97 here. You beat Vegas. That's scary, man.
I was driving home. I looked over at my temperature on my car, and I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" Oh my god.
And we just, and then like just 2 days ago, it was like 55 degrees and gloomy and rainy.
And is that what made you do the shave, just to get rid of the long hair for the?
Oh, dude, I wasn't gonna do another summer with long hair.
Yeah,
ain't no way, no how.
You're like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, there are two things that can make me go from 50 to 100 really quick. It's either fucking that or Florence Pugh in any movie.
Yeah,
nice.
I'll agree on both accounts.
I mean, he's got standards.
I can see that.
So.
Indubitably.
You can see that, but yeah, it's hot. I'm freaking, it's pretty hot in this room right here. I'm like, geez. This room just gets heated, and I'm like, geez, and the AC.
You have to get like a table fan or something for you to
I do. I have a fan right there.
Okay,
I got my ceiling fan.
I got
two fans on me right now, and it's doing the trick, but still, it's like, fuck. This room just gets so hot in this house, and I was like, well, didn't think about that when I moved in here, but hey.
Second floor, isn't it?
Huh?
Your new studio, it's in a second floor.
Second floor.
So it rises. Yeah, you're getting the hot.
Yeah, I know. There is a room like right below me that I thought about, but I'm like, my brother's like right on the other side of the wall, like just watching TV or playing his game or something like that. And I'm like, there's just noise. I'm like, I need to be further up and away so we don't hear each other, That was part of the deal. Is like, hey, let's not hear each other. Let's keep the space as much as possible when we're doing our things. So, but yeah, and it was just, today was kind of like So we hopefully though, and we might have to like ask the landlord, like, hey, what's up with the AC? It's not doing that well in this house. Because I put it on today, and it was like, whoa, it was barely like, it was like not even that cold air coming out of the vents. I'm like, So, yeah, but yeah, this weather's insane because literally like 2-3 days ago, it was gloomy and cold, and I was begging for sunlight. I'm going, what do we live in? Fucking Portland? This sucks. I love the sun. I'm like, I'm okay with like overcast for a day or 2 days, 3 days. But then when it gets to like 4, 5, 6, I'm going, give me some fucking sun here, man. This is depressing. And then finally the sun shows up and it brings in the heat. It brings in 98-degree weather. It's supposed to be 99 tomorrow. I'm like, good God.
Dude, no.
Gotta love it. But good Oscar talk. I hope that Coogler does get, I think they will. I think hopefully they will. They'll acknowledge him like, hey, this movie is special. There's the vampire genre is the vampire genre. And if you could add a little bit of spice to it, a little flavor where it gets people talking and gets people going, oh shit. That's what I love is like these genres where these directors can come in and be like, okay, yeah, here's a genre, but what about like this? What about like that? Let's add this to it. Let's add that to it.
Let's watch the movies.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, and
Crazy
then watch,
concept.
Yeah.
It's an it's a crazy concept that just might work. So, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it was interesting to see that I forgot what's the guy's name that directed Thunderbolts?
Jake Schreier.
Jake Schreier. Yeah. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's in talks. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he probably has the job.
Yeah, if he's in talks.
You know, I think they put that out there.
It's kind, yeah.
I think they put that out there to gauge people. Like, hey, yeah, he's in talks right now, but he probably already signed on. But at the same time, they were looking at the response from Thunderbolts. Like, yeah, it might not be blowing up the box office, but it's doing a good amount for like a movie like this. And then the fact that people are just raving about the actual movie, and you know, the audience rating is super high, and everybody's just like, wow. And then of course I keep saying the MCU's back, but I'm like, stop saying that shit. It's been back. I don't know how many times it's going to be coming. You're going to say that again in fucking July, probably. No, but I'm just saying, like, you know, it seems like it was an audition for him essentially, and it's like, hey, I mean, obviously they were probably looking at other people too, and they pass it, but they're like, hey, you kind of nailed this concept of a group that are kind of.
It's funny you mentioned that, because someone sent me an image of something.
Rob Liefeld.
Yep.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier.
Oh my god. Talk about just whiny bitch level over 9,000, dude. Just fucking wham. I don't work for Marvel anymore, but I left on my own terms anyway, but I'm still gonna bitch and moan about everything they do. Fucking wham. If only you heard about the names that I saw they passed. Shut the fuck up, dude. You don't even work for Marvel anymore.
He feels like the guy who said there was like a mutual breakup, but all he does is complain about the ex-girlfriend. It's like, so was it actually mutual, or did she leave you? And
don't be surprised when him and Bo DeMeo work
100%
work on something independent.
Oh, God,
don't be surprised.
You called it right there.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. Oh my god.
Go back to talking about comics, your artwork, things like that. You don't like it. You didn't like how they treated you. Fine. I'm not saying they are doing a great job treating creators well. We get it.
Yeah.
You don't have information, and the information you probably have was given you by your favorite scooper, Phil. You know, at that point, and thinks he knows something.
You know, I added a new clip on my show just for him.
Did you?
Yeah, it's the bit from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990.
Oh yeah.
You dirty rat. Ah.
But
anytime that I see like one of the movie Twitter handles post something, and then I say source, and I see in Snyder, I'm like, nope, not even gonna talk about that. But then of course sometimes I will have to talk about it because it's all, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, I'm gonna take it with a huge.
We do what we do, you know, because like, and even with that, like, even with the worst, like with our listeners, we have a tier ranking of the scoopers, and we always say, okay, before we talk about this is the tier, and sometimes it is just fun to talk about of like, okay, if this was true, you know, X, Y, and Z, right? Because you know sometimes it's a slow news week, but I think as long as you preference the history and where it's coming from, that's good. If everybody that's like, oh, like many of the people that are just aggregating to get clicks, right? They take all scoops as like this is gospel and it's happening, but it's like, no, you gotta just gauge it a bit. And yeah, I'm happy with Jake Schreier. I think he will get it. Obviously things happen all the time, right? Because Credden was supposed to be directing Avengers, and that didn't happen, so you never know. But I think with the reception of Thunderbolts, that's why it came after the fact, because I bet if fans or critics really didn't like it, Drake Schreier would not be directing the X-Men movies. You know, it's kind of like how Rian Johnson had a trilogy of Star Wars movies before Last Jedi came out. And then after Last Jedi, I'm still waiting on that trilogy. You know, it's nowhere in sight. So I think they were smart to wait till after, because even if it's not making tons of money, seems like everybody likes it. And like what I want from X-Men is the same thing of Thunderbolts. It's not the exact same one-to-one, but the way that was about human emotions and building character, that's what I want for X-Men. I think they have similarities, but X-Men's all about being an outcast and not feeling like you belong. There's definitely similar beats to that in Thunderbolts, right? So to me, that's way more important than like, sure, I want to see Wolverine fuck up a Sentinel, but that's not why I watch or like read or whatever to X-Men. It's because of what they're going through. So, and I hope they get the same writers as well. I hope they get the beef writers back.
That's we were talking about that last night, saying, you know, oh, but they should bring on the writers of Thunderbolts, New Avengers, whatever. Like, again, just because they've named a writer doesn't mean this is the writer they're going to end up going with. I guarantee you he gets this job, he'll take a look at the script and either I want to bring in my own people and see what they can do, and either we're going to go with them or go with him, but like this will not be the final writer for this film.
No.
No,
it'd be like Homecoming.
never.
Remember Homecoming list on that final movie? There's 5 writers on that. For the screenplay, not even the story, by the screenplay, it's 5 writers.
Yeah.
So I agree. Whether it's him or his people, I hope they get the the people that wrote Thunderbolts and Beef, because I really like both of those. So.
And then we heard that Kevin Feige apparently has a 10-year plan when it comes to the X-Men, which is like, yeah, that's
Good.
I mean,
I would hope.
Who said
I said good.
No, he said good.
Oh, I thought he said
good.
10-year plan for the X-Men. What is he doing?
I thought I heard
Come on,
like,
make it
Listen,
5.
whatever Kevin Feige has planned for the X-Men has got to be more consistent with whatever the fuck Fox did with the X-Men. Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that. I think like, yeah, that's going to be the next saga. It's going to be the mutant saga. We got the multiverse saga that they're wrapping up with Secret Wars.
What was that again? Multiverse? What?
The multiverse saga, whatever the hell that is, you know.
That's what I was about to say. Let's call it. That's the appropriate term there.
Whatever
the hell it was.
Whatever it was trying to be, you know, some wins and some losses for sure. But obviously that's going to be wrapping up, and hopefully they go out with a bang with Doomsday and fucking Secret Wars. But yeah, it just seems like the next is just going to be the mutant saga for like the next decade after that. Which, good, you know, why not? And then I just wonder, okay, so are they? Because I want to see I want to see these guys interact with Captain America and Tony Stark.
Well, Captain America is there, Dave. What are you trying to say?
Oh, yeah, I know.
You got John Walker. Come on.
Yeah, you got John Walker as well. You're going to have Ironheart
we
next
got a couple of those guys, right? Yeah.
Apparently Ironheart is like the capper to Phase 5. I thought Thunderbolts was, but apparently Ironheart is the last project.
Oh, is that actually technically the
According to what I read online, yeah, apparently Ironheart is like the final project of Phase. I liken it more to, like, you know how Far From Home was like the epilogue of Phase 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Ironheart, you could argue, is functionally the same.
We still have yet to get a trailer, and that's coming out next month.
Such bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
There's some stat that it's like it's the shortest amount of time between the project releasing a trailer for the MCU not coming out ever. At the time I saw it was 46 days. It was 2 days ago, so it's 44 days. So it's like it's set records.
We got like a new still. We got like a new still this week, and that's about it.
I think you'll. Oh,
wild. It's just like. That I think is more on Disney than it is Marvel Studios, because
fucking Iger, man,
is pumping out Andor right now. They want everyone. They want the Disney Plus conversation solely to be centered around Andor right now. And it's like, look, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, look, you guys just came off hot from Thunderbolts, especially after I wouldn't say lukewarm, but a decent run for Captain America, and then obviously Born Again happened, and that kept the conversation going. It's like, come on, fucking, you guys have had this character in the chamber since Black Panther Wakanda Forever. You guys have shown it off here and there. Like, just fucking show the goddamn trailer already. Like, yeah, granted, the typical practice these days is at least a month or so before release. Well, TikTok, motherfucker, time's coming. You need to release and show something of this goddamn TV show. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on outside of some very small teaser bits, images. Other than that, rumors, rampant rumors about this show. And I'm just fucking over it. I want to see what the show is going to be about. That way I can finally be like, all right, here we are. Let's go. Ironheart.
Yeah. I really don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't think they're going to drop it binge, but I wouldn't see it out of the realm of possibility because they did that with Echo. I don't think they're going to, but it is a little odd. It just feels like they're kind of not hiding it. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know what the game plan there is. And plus, unfortunately, I think this show's going to come out, then you're not going to see Ironheart for like a long time. And maybe that's the reason why. Maybe they have really no plans with this character. Because what Dave was talking about, where he's like, oh, he wants to see Cap and Steve, Tony, everything like that, Steve Rogers. It's like, I do too, to a point, but at the same time, when we get the Mutant Saga, I don't think you don't even need them right now, because you're going to have F4 going, you're going to have X-Men going, and then, as much as you don't like it, maybe Dave, but you're going to get like Thor 5, you're going to get like Doctor Strange 3, you're going to get Black Panther 3. So it's like,
I did see something that Taka is not going to be directing Thor 5.
No, and I don't think he is. No, and that's the
probably
people.
For the best.
Again, people like to shit on the movie, but that's like the 5th most profitable movie of the saga.
True.
It made almost 800 million. It's not like a loser. That's one where if you start to purge things, you don't purge Chris Hemsworth Thor. He makes it for a while. So that's why it's like between Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man, you got another Strange, Black Panther, Thor. It's like, I don't think they're going to get to like a new Steve Rogers. They don't need to get to a new Steve Rogers or Tony Stark for like another half a decade even. So you could get that, but I bet it's like again, maybe in 5-6 years, like a long time from now. So
yeah, I don't expect them to do like a hard reboot of a lot of. I mean, who knows what the hell is going to happen? I mean, it seems like no matter what, it's like they have like an idea of something. And, I'm okay. Even though I didn't really like Brave New World, I'm like, okay, yeah. But Sam, what they established in Thunderbolts is the fact that there's going to be like competing Avengers. I was like, okay, I'm curious to see where that goes. Even if like some of it, like especially that post-credit scene in Thunderbolts was very much, there's a lot of things that I think there was like, oh, this is kind of like The Boys. I mean, geez, they are really leaning into that, which I'm going, yeah. I think The Boys, when The Boys came out and they kind of flipped the superhero genre on its head to be like, well, since this genre is so popular and we have these books that already are kind of doing shit like that are kind of just taking the superhero concept in this way, then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, well, Marvel and DC need to now do that too. And now they are both doing that. Obviously, Marvel just now fully showing that in Thunderbolts big time. And then even Superman's going to have those concepts as well, where it's like, oh yeah, there's going to be like, I mean, we saw like a shot of, Corn Sweat as Clark Kent, and there's Superman, all kinds of Superman merch behind him and shit. And we have the Justice Gang and the Max Lord sponsored heroes and shit like that. I'm like, okay, we're now in that genre where they're going, okay, yeah, the Boys, yeah, see how they acknowledge like that. Now we got to do that. And they're kind of getting, and it's going to be curious to see if it works, and hopefully it does, but that's what I'm kind of curious though. Like when it comes to the MCU and with the fact that it's taken so long for the mutants to really be a factor. And now it's like, okay, now we got mutants involved. How are you going to do all that with all the other toys to play with, as opposed to what Fox didn't have?
I think they're going to consolidate it down. I think once Endgame and Secret Wars is done, these things that they've used since 2008 are going to go into the background. You'll hear them referenced to, but between Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and mutants, not necessarily X-Men, because I don't think you necessarily get that right out of the chute. I think you will see mutants, but I think they will culminate in an X-Men and beyond. But with just between those three IPs alone, you have enough not to have to drift back into what got you there from 2008 to 2025. I think once the sacred timeline has been installed, those are the three pillars going forward. You'll still have Avengers movies because that's always going to be how they tell their big storylines sometimes, even if they're not the prominent characters. But I think those three, you have enough with just those three IPs alone and the derivative characters that are the supporting characters in each of those three. To that's an entire universe right there. You really don't need to clutter it with trying to hold over anything. So once that sacred timeline after Secret Wars is there, they'll pretty much use that to prune the things that they don't need going forward.
Do you guys think that it was a good idea to just first thing Monday was to be like, hey, we're changing the posters to New Avengers? You think that was smart?
Yeah, I think
it was fine.
Yeah,
it's kind of a built-in marketing tactic once you watch the movie for the first time. It's
I mean, it makes sense with the asterisk and everything that was in the,
I mean,
I saw people going like, wait, what the fuck? They just already spoiled that. But I'm like going, well, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, they're changing billboards. You got fucking, Sebastian Stan walking around and, doing the posters thing.
It's a way to keep it in. It's a way to keep it in conversation at that point. Yes, okay, technically, yes, it is a spoiler. But it's not the thing that defines the movie.
No.
You have to get there. You have to get there somewhere, and there's a lot of getting there.
Exactly.
And this movie, to them, is just basically aiming their cannon towards July 27th, and then aiming another cannon beyond that. That's why this movie, it's going to make decent money, but it's C-listers and D-listers, but they're using them to propel their A-listers, and the way they're doing it is fine. So I think that's what this movie is for, because they're looking at it from 30,000 feet. They don't do the old WB thing where they just jump hopefully from one movie to another. They have a plan set up, and their results get judged at the end of that plan, not per situation. So that's always a better way to do it.
Plus, it's like you look at the next kind of run of movies. I was telling us last night in our podcast. Like, okay, you got F4 next, you got Avengers, you got Spider-Man, and then you got Avengers. That's a pretty good. Like, even if Thunderbolts finishes somewhere between 300 to 400, it's almost like William said. It'll be kind of like a wash. It's like, well, whatever. That set up some stuff now where you got the real big guns about to play, and those are all not F4, but I'd say the other three are at least $1 billion movies. Maybe not $2 billion like some of those other Avenger movies, but those three are $1 billion movies. So they kind of are gonna have a good run here of just a bunch of success, and then who knows whatever follows up with Secret Wars. I'm the opposite, because William, you said you don't think it's you thought X-Men's further away. I think X-Men's actually gonna be really early. I could see that being 2028 if they're already getting a director. I bet, because I feel like that'd be a smart way to kick off the new sagas. Hey, we just came off of Secret Wars. Hopefully, good big hit. People love MCU again, and boom, here's your X-Men. Start off hot and heavy.
It's very possible.
No, I agree.
That's exactly how you fix it.
Yeah.
Not having the question I have until the very end. That's how you fix it.
Yeah. The only question I have is if I'm just curious, because you could be very well right, but I'm curious to how they do this. Do they just do the whole let's throw a team together of the most popular people, or do we actually tell an X-Men story that gets us there? I'm just curious to how that happens. That's why my timetable is only in my head, because if you're telling, okay, if we're putting the original 5 together and we're talking about the establishment of this, or are we just jumping in with the cornucopia of what they do in cartoons and what they do in the thing where none of those people were X-Men at any given time? And the reason I always had a problem with that, the only thing I had a problem with the Fox movies, the ones that were good, which is the majority of them, was the fact that each of those X-Men that joined the X-Men, there was a long-term story for the most part that got them there and got them established. Kitty Pryde took her a while. She was there. She got established. There are all kinds of stories that led up to being them established to what any given group that you got from 1978 to 1992, there was a story that cemented them being there. It wasn't just a popularity contest of everybody knows Storm, everybody knows Wolverine, let's just throw them in there to make some money. So since they are the MCU and they do have the luxury of having the trust of people for a long-term thing, do we just start out with the most popular checklist of X-Men, or do we start out with an established story? Well, either way, I guess will work, but I'm just curious to which one.
I think that's the tightrope they're going to have to follow, because they cannot run the risk of possibly doing what was done with Fox, but at the same time, Marvel Studios is not privy to doing that as well. I mean, look at Fantastic Four First Steps. They are literally meshing together elements of the first 2 Tim Story movies into one movie. So while I think that they are probably going to, like Chris and Travis said, I think they're going to come out the gate post Secret Wars with at least one X-Men movie, probably another Spider-Man movie. That's my guess. Because they are for sure probably going to bank on another Tom Holland trilogy. If I had to be,
this has been the longest break. Remember the Tom Holland Spider-Mans before were always 2 years apart. This has been the longest it's been. So once they get back on track, I think that's
they can't freaking decide what they want to do with it.
Yeah, and I hope
Sony.
I hope we get some news soon. I hope it's Mr. Negative related. But I think to William's question, I think it's. Other than Wolverine, I think it's the checklist people. I think they'll hold Wolverine back as a big gun. Whether it's Hugh or a new actor, I think that's a good way to be hey, this is the X-Men. But if you, let's say there is just people that just watch Wolverine, he's coming, and they can set that up. But I think, especially with some of their, I'd say it's 2022 to now, some of the films that underperformed, I don't know if they want to risk let's build up all these smaller X-Men, or even let's start with one character here, one character there. I think they will want to go for.
Or do we start with the original 5 before we put on all the ones that took 30 years to accumulate?
I don't think
the original 5 if you get the original 5, Angel's not in it. He's swapped for Storm, in my opinion. I think I could see. Also depends with Hulk, right? Do you have Beast and Hulk at the same time? Because that's what Hulk is right now. He's Professor Hulk is Beast, where he's a smart big guy that can kick some butt if he needs to. Right?
Once again, though, it took a decade for us to get to that Hank McCoy.
True. So
that's what I mean. Yeah. I think the value in X-Men is that there's a history there that can be told in a certain way. I don't need a popularity contest. For me personally, I want to see you tell a story.
He just doesn't want Gambit in there. I heard you.
Gambit's going to be annoying no matter what. But here's the thing, though. Okay, but Gambit, X-Men, I got his first issue, X-Men 266.
Yeah.
So we went. You have 30 years. There's a whole bunch of psychology that's built with the X-Men that don't have anything to do with those characters. That starts with the school. That starts with where you're at in society. So there's a lot of different ways they can do it, and none of them will be wrong. But I preference-wise, like I said, that's the only problem I have with the Fox movies is that the stories that led to each and every one of those characters being there was just kind of like thrown together because they looked at a chart somewhere and said, "Oh, that's the most popular guy. Let's do that." That's not storytelling. That's a survey. So I would personally rather than see them start now. If we start and then there's flashback, I mean, it all depends on how they tell the story too, because they don't have to do it linear time too. You could have a contemporary X-Men, but I still would like to see, because the forming of that school and the reasoning that you form his school resonates throughout the entirety of the X-Men, no matter who comes and joins. So I would really want to kind of see that. Now, have Wolverine out there, because I think Wolverine on his own, no matter when he joins, is going to be a moneymaker. Yeah. But like I said, I mean, each of those characters from Giant Size X-Men from point on, it's a different story being told, and I just don't want to see them thrown together into
the way that they are going to reveal the new Wolverine. That's going to be like one of those like holy shit moments that happens in the next 3.
I actually have an idea of how they're going to do that.
They should do it in Secret Wars,
because
Hugh Jackman's got to be a part.
I don't think they're going to do it in Secret Wars.
You don't think so?
I think they have a really unique opportunity because, Brad Winderbaum said something to the effect of like, it's not going to be a complete and total reboot after Secret Wars, but I do think that there's going to be like a reconfiguring of a timeline per se. You will see, how all of this gets consolidated into a single timeline again, but that also means you have the opportunity to like reposition characters into a certain respect. Like, yeah, you do lose a lot. Like, for example, the character I'm getting at is Hulk. Like, I think they are going to do some resetting in a certain respect with some characters, i.e. I think Hulk is going to get maybe repositioned to being a big, giant, rage-filled monster again, because we're kind of, in a sense, starting over. If that is the case, you have a pretty unique opportunity there to have Wolverine appear as he did in his first appearance in Marvel Comics, fighting the Incredible Hulk, which would be kind of interesting. But in terms of the X-Men, again, it's a tightrope because you don't want to run the risk of doing what's been done before, but at the same time, like, they are not afraid to do something like that. I think they can do it and blend it the best way of both worlds. I think there's a way you can put them in a modern timeline, a modern context, i.e., the year 2027, 2028, 2029, whatever, and then still have that, 30, 40 years ago, here's your First Class. Here's, your Beast, your Iceman, your what is Jean Grey's original, like,
Marvel Girl.
Marvel Girl. There we go. Cyclops. You have those in their original suits, like in their First Class suits. Then you can jump them, 20, 30 years into the future and have them be like mentors, teachers, whatever, to the new incoming class, like a Jubilee, a Nightcrawler, whatever. Like, I think there's ample room to, kind of rewrite history in a sense, but have it still feel reminiscent of what's been done, but also different enough to where it's not exactly the same. My neighbor's dog can eat a fucking bag of shit right now.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the Hulk again. To be honest with you, I just, as personal, I don't have any insight anything.
We'll see him
I
again.
just not relevantly. I don't think you guys will see these ones that they've been reliant on since 2008. I don't think you'll see them in that scope. I think those guys will be relegated to cameos. The next Wolverine is going to be a different actor. You'll see Hugh Jackman, but going away. I don't think you're going to see holdovers, because this is like a mulligan that they're going to get, where they've ran the course of these characters. They've gotten everything out of these characters for the last 15, 16 years, and now they have a whole new set of IPs. They just don't need those characters like that anymore. Cameo, like I said, you see, Banner helping you out with a science project or something like that, but a story being built on him, I don't see it. You don't need Tony Stark yet. You don't need Tony Stark for another 9 or 10 years. You have Reed Richards. You have a whole new universe that makes this thing new and fun again, and it takes off that feel of them just running out, the same names, because that's all they've had. They have something else now. I really think that a lot of these characters that they've done are going to get relegated into mentions and in cameos, if anything at all. That's just an opinion.
No, it makes sense. But yeah, like I said, there's going to be the biggest the biggest thing is like whoever's going to be the new Wolverine. There's going to be like a whole thing. Yeah, and kudos to whoever freaking. I mean, over in the DC universe, you know, we always talk
That's
about
not my Wolverine,
not my Superman, not my, you know. So then we're gonna get that with not my Tony Stark, and we're gonna finally get all that shit, which is like, wow, that's gonna actually we're at that point because I mean, man, I remember when I saw the other day, it was like last week or something that, you know, 17 years ago, Iron Man came out. I was like, oh, fuck. 17? Yeah, 14 years ago, the first Avengers. Oh, wow. It's like, God damn, just look where we're at now. Man.
I'm not completely on the train of Hugh Jackman's not going to stick around just because.
I think he's going to have a couple more runs, but
I could see it being another decade. I really do. Like
till he's 90.
I just think because it especially depends how money hungry Disney ever decides to get. You get a couple Star Wars movies that bomb or something like that. You get another Marvel movie that bomb. The Wolverine thing. No. I have to wait and see till Secret Wars, but I could just see them sticking around. And I've always pitched I'd be completely fine if they just gave Daphne Keane the Wolverine mantle for a while and just let her run with it, and then figure out Logan later because Logan's always a draw, and that'd be something different. Because
I more around to your position these days, Travis.
Well, she's becoming a bigger star for like multiple reasons. I feel like I'm just always seeing inappropriate videos.
Wow.
No. I'm just saying on my timeline.
He said it.
It is, Kay, because the internet does this weird thing. Yeah. And for me, we talked about this on the Deadpool Wolverine review. I will never be able to find her attractive in that way because I saw her in Logan as a little girl. So when I see that Daphne Keane's trending and then it pops up like, oh, okay, that's why she's trending. Good. But for me, or for the next generation, there's a bunch of dudes that are teens in their 20s. That's great. And like, I don't think having a sexy Wolverine is a bad thing. Like, I don't think that's like oh no, we can't do that, especially when the MCU is like one of the most sexless like franchises in the world. Like the characters may well be asexual other than like a few situations like Guardians, Iron Man, Eternals. So I would be fine if Hugh Jackman just stuck around as like a supporting character, popped up every once in a while, and it was just Daphne Keane. Because Phil's right that they do still do variations of things people have done before, but they also like to do things a tad different. And for me, I just don't think they're going to do like the Jean, Scott, Logan triangle again, because Fox did that to death. And I love that triangle, but I think that's an aspect like the Spider-Man movies where they go, like they've done all those villains. Let's wait a little bit on that. Same thing where Daphne Keane, you can do something else, whether it's with Angel, or maybe that's a different dynamic, right? Of instead of Jean being the person in the middle, have Scott, make Scott the main character, and have, you got Laura on one side and Jean Grey, and that's like the fun dynamic. Is this time Scott's the one trying to decide like, who do I want to go for? Like, so I'm like honestly a 50-50 of Jackman. I could see Jackman surviving Consolidated Universe, and he opens up a classroom door and it's fucking Hugh Jackman. Because if he's a teacher too, then he doesn't have to always get like chicken breast ripped, so
I give it 80-20. I give it 80-20 simply because the Wolverine that they're going to introduce, it's going to be the one that they're going to build this story over the next 10, 12, 15 years. And you're not going to do that with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. So Laura Kinney, though, you do her, let her have it.
I mean,
poor choice of words, Travis. Very poor choice of words.
Yeah, I know, right? After all the stuff you just said, you said do her. Shit. I know, but that's the thing, though. But you have a point though, where it's like, sometimes when I see like, oh yeah, there's Daphne Keane working out, and I'm like, should I be looking at? I'm like, how old is she again? Okay, yeah, she's in her 20s.
Dirty old man.
Yeah, I'm like, good lord. But when I first
it's like 11. It's like 11 from Stranger Things. It's like, look at her now.
Oh, geez, And all of a sudden she's like trying to be this blonde bombshell, and I'm like, what? That's 11. What? Yeah, it is weird seeing. Even like when it happens on the other side, when all of a sudden you see like, ladies swooning over like, hey, wait, that dude was like 15 not too long ago. And all of a sudden he's like a stud who gained like 25 pounds of muscle. And I'm like, what the shit? It is kind of crazy, like how that happens. But yeah, you kind of have to like step back and be like, wait a minute. Even like with like Isabella Merced, I'm like, wait, that was Dora at one point. How old is she again? Okay,
right,
like,
Dora, yeah. But for whatever reason, not for a reason, but she's gaining popularity. So I don't think, especially if X-Men's an ensemble movie,
she's a beautiful woman.
Wolverine can do that. So
yeah,
that's my pitch.
But yeah, I mean, it could be. Yeah, no, I think Hugh Jackman's going to probably stick around for a bit, but there's going to have to be a passing of the clause. And I mean, and it's going to be a big event. I think they're going to have to capitalize on that event. and they're going to be doing like they have to. But then of course we have this whole thing of Ryan Reynolds talking about how he is writing like
X-Force.
Yeah. Which I think we
whisper.
Phil and I talked about
whisper.
Go ahead, I coughed. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, but like, I mean, he's got this whole like, oh yeah, Deadpool teaming up with certain members, and then you just kind of go, okay, well, I mean, you could think about, oh yeah, Channing Tatum's Gambit, sure. Obviously Hugh Jackman, sure. But then you start going, well, there could be X-23. Hell, they could bring fucking Brolin back for Cable.
Cable and Domino.
Yeah, and they could just bring back the X-Force because they were wanting to do that.
Cinematic.
I mean, that's what Deadpool 2 was supposed to be. Yeah. What's that, Chris?
I mean, she's very cinematic.
Yes, she actually is. And I really like
this had a number of characters over the years, so I wouldn't be shocked if I really wouldn't be shocked if Ryan Reynolds was toying around with the idea of like reviving X-Force. I really wouldn't. And as far as the roster goes, you know, the characters have already been on screen. The only one I would like to see that has been on screen in one movie that he wasn't in was Psylocke. It doesn't necessarily have to be Olivia Munn, but I would like to see a Psylocke in the X-Force. That would be cool. But overall, you know, if you wanted a couple other members, you know, there's Negasonic Teenage Warhead, there's Colossus, Shatterstar. Like, I'm just thinking of people who have been shown on screen as of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Now, they're going to be
as long as Olivia Munn wears that outfit again, that's all that matters. Anyway,
as garbage as Apocalypse was, she was not garbage in that movie, and she looked great. She looked
great.
She looked like Jim Lee Drewer, straight up.
You
they went full on, hey, comic accurate, just the way that these are, you know, designed. She even said, "Oh, it was very uncomfortable." I'm like, "Yeah, I can understand that." It looked like you were, that thing was just strapped onto you. Yeah, woof. Anyways, go ahead.
If you have a guy, so say for instance, they name a person who's going to be doing X-Men movies or X-Men family of movies, is that going to be something that where that person is? They're going to want that person to be handling that family of characters. And will that be a conflict with having older versions and versions that are no longer part? Because I don't know how the secret timeline is going to matter. Yeah, they're basically going to pick and choose what they want to keep. Do they necessarily keep these versions of these characters if they're not going to get another chance like this to basically reset the road to where they want to revolve around the IPs that they didn't have back in 2008?
That's what's.
I mean, how much leftover? How much leftover relics do you carry over? You're going to make money with Spider-Man. You're going to make money with any form of X-Men brand new. You could start out brand new. You're going to make money with that X-Men. And you're going to make money with Fantastic Four and all derivative characters. How strong is the urge to keep the leftovers when you have a chance to start a brand new thing with the credibility that you've built up to this point?
I think they're in a tough situation with Deadpool because clearly they want to use Deadpool, but Reynolds has been on record many times that I don't think he wants to do like a front to back, you're carrying this whole movie. I think he wants to do like what Downey was after Iron Man 3, where he never did. There wasn't an Iron Man 4, right? It was Civil War and Avengers, Spider-Man, where he popped up for not a cup of tea. That sounds small, but like, you know what I mean, right? He was always, even if he was still top of the call list, he was never the main character. He was sharing the screen. So I think that's the tough thing. And my hope is it's a bunch of new characters because I know William in general doesn't like Gambit. I liked Channing Tatum's Gambit for Deadpool and Wolverine, but I don't want that going forward. If Secret Wars ends and Channing Tatum's Gambit is the Gambit from here on out, I'm going to be a very sad man because I think that had its place there. Like, that's fun. Okay.
That was funny. That was funny.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's like the joke can go on too far, and that's where I don't want it to go. And that's where it's like, yeah, it's awkward if you do a movie with those characters, like the Deadpool characters. Because, yeah, if let's say everything consolidates now, it's like, oh, these people are still around. But then it's also weird to be like, oh, we're getting a new X-Men team, and then some of the new X-Men are going to be in a Deadpool movie, unless he's doing a X-Force movie with some really like B-tier characters, like not even return people, just like, hey, these people are not going to be in the X-Men MCU movie. Go ahead, Ryan, and use, you know, like, I don't know, use Juggernaut again, use who's Leech? Like, they gave him like just
Colossus would be a complex character for me because I would, if I'm writing an X-Men family of movies, Colossus is a very important part, and the version I'm bringing in is a very important part to my story, not the jokey one that you had, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're putting me in charge of this family of stories, and that's an X-Man I want to use, why would I have him? See, that's what I'm saying. If they're going to do anything with Ryan, anybody who's got any of these leftovers, we have 5-6 years in between now and when Secret Wars hits That's when they should do all this. Because once the sacred timeline is set, then it should be new going forward. Otherwise, why did you do it?
And that's the thing. If they, for some reason, because Secret Wars, what is right now 2027, if that movie gets delayed and there's time, then I'm completely fine with, let Ryan do like another X-Men with the friends. That's fine. But like William said, I don't want the claws from Deadpool to have like the long lost love with Kitty Pryde, where there's like the iconic covers of them holding each other. Like, I don't think that for me really jives. So I don't know what they're going to do, but at the same time, they want to use Deadpool, right? Clearly it was shown people still like Deadpool. It's his biggest movie. They obviously Hugh Jackman had a lot to do with that too, but people will pay to see Deadpool. They like, and I don't care what everyone thinks about like, oh, the lawsuit, this and that. People don't get the people that don't watch this show and listen to the show. They don't give a fuck about what's going on with Ryan Reynolds and his wife and some guy who directed a movie. They really don't care.
Nobody
as long as he's back in the red suit, that's fine. Even fucking Blake Lively's movie that came out, most streamed Amazon movie of all time. People don't give a fuck about that stuff. They really don't.
I think Ryan Reynolds knew, like, oh man, because obviously, his name is being dragged and it's been dragged. So I think like it was kind of smart of him to be like, oh, guess what I'm working on, guys.
You like Deadpool, right?
So for the PR, for PR for him, that was smart, because I think even like last year sometime he goes, who knows? What'll happen with Deadpool and both. Then all of a sudden, when all the shit's going down, he's like, hey, I'm working on something, guys. X-Men to be involved, so smart. But at the same time, like we're saying, most people just don't give a shit.
Now, they can make a lot of money with Deadpool. That's no doubt. That's been proven.
Yeah.
But they can make a lot of money with any of these other characters, too. It's not like they're going to be like, damn, we're going without. They've proven that they can make money. Do you disrupt this whole thing that you're doing? Because the characters you have from Sacred Timeline going forward, you could probably make good money, too. You got up to the point where you made money. You went 700, 800, whatever, and then you made your billion. They can make that kind of money. Do you disrupt what you're doing with the Sacred Timeline for that, tantalizing thing right there, when that's basically what you've done all this point, is generate movies that do that? So if I never get another Deadpool movie, that doesn't mean I'm not going to get another $1 billion movie. Something will take its place. The new thing will take its place.
I think the bigger problem is that there's a $1 billion standard attached to big team up superhero movies.
Yep.
I think there's that too. And I'm not saying that's like a bad way to look at it. I'm just saying that like that's the unfortunate standard that we have in 2025, 2020, like this current decade of superhero films. It's really unfortunate. I mean, it all really kind of stems from the fact that, Avengers made that money back in 2012, and then every studio has jumped on that idea. Unfairly, Batman v Superman got criticized for not making $1 billion, which I still think is ridiculous to this day. Dumbest shit. Dumb shit. It's absolute dumb shit. And, not one X-Men movie made $1 billion. The only movie with X-Men characters in it to make over $1 billion is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I still just laugh at that. And when people in the real world often get this confused, when I say stuff like that, they're like, wait a minute, what about Days of Future Past? Nope. I just looked it up. $746 million. And then from there,
a big hit is $1 billion.
2014.
I think.
Yeah. It's wild. It's just absolutely wild.
In the MCU, and the thing about it is Kevin Feige and the people who run that company, fanboys use that stupid standard. They don't. They do what they want to do, what they plan out, what they have faith in doing. And the byproduct of it is that it makes that kind of money. But they're not sitting around a poker table with counting money and how to calculate it. Oh, how do we make $1 billion? They're here. We're going to make this movie, and we're going to set this plan in motion, and we're not going to blink. We'll make our adjustments, and what it makes is what it makes.
They want to profit.
They
want to profit. They want to profit, but sometimes, especially, when you go to the DCU side, they're not going to like sit there and be like, "Hey, if Superman doesn't make, obviously, if it doesn't make $1 billion, they're not going to just cancel it out." Now, fanboys are going to be like, "Oh, it didn't make $1 billion."
The internet tells me
everybody out.
You mean the internet?
I know,
the
right?
Internet's wrong.
But then there's certain people that do say it's going to make $1 billion. Obviously, you got the two extremes on each side. But at the same time, it's like they're looking at, okay, what they're calculating all the numbers down to the fucking, cent of it, the millicent or whatever the hell. They're going, okay, if it makes this, we're good. And then they're also calculating the good word of mouth, because we were just talking about, the Thor movies made money, but at the same time there was bad word of mouth, and even to the point where Chris Hemsworth went, yeah, I think we kind of went too far. You know, he even said that.
Down.
He's like, we went too far with the comedy stuff. It's time to it's time to reel it in a little bit. And they look at
smart
that.
to pivot, you know.
Yeah,
like that, and they did with Thor: Dark World too, right? Because like now people retroactively like that movie a lot more because of what happened with Taika. But at the time, Thor was the lead. Like for the GA, I felt like that.
He was the loser of the group.
People didn't care about Thor. And when Age of Ultron came out, they did not care about Thor in the sense. Of course they did. It was a successful franchise. They just meant like the core four. If it was Tony, Cap, Hulk, and that, because even though Incredible Hulk was the lowest, after Avengers, people fucking loved Hulk because that was a huge movie.
Hulk movie because of
but they couldn't. But like after Avengers, that like Hulk, the Battle of New York, that was everybody, my friends, when I came out, we were talking about, man, the Hulk was so fucking awesome when he was doing this, doing that. So I think like when Dark World came out, Thor was just like, oh yeah,
Thor
like,
has been relegated to the beefcake ever since Dark World. He is the lady magnet. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely, and that's worked.
The MILF magnet. That's what I call him.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, you know, I've got women in my family who fucking, they tell me all the time, oh, Thor's my favorite character. I'm like, I get it.
Why?
Because Chris Hemsworth's a charismatic guy, man. He's good looking.
He's good looking. He's chiseled. He's fucking big.
No controversies. Not like
that too.
He's got it.
He's a family man.
He's got an accent. An Australian accent.
Oh, yeah.
That also will win.
And I think he also just has that thing where it just like anyone would want to like hang out with Chris Hemsworth, like get dinner, get a beer with him, like because he just feels like he's like a fun guy.
Be a fun dude.
And he doesn't believe in leg day either.
Yeah. And then at one point, I mean, that's what Momoa was for the DC universe.
Absolutely.
It was like, that was the MILF magnet too, because Jesus Christ, you just like, hey, there's Jason Momoa. And there'd be like younger women going, I don't see it. And there'd be older women going, are you kidding me? Well, you seeing this man? I mean, my God. And then at the same time, he'd be fun. He'd probably be more fun to go get a beer with, because you'll probably end up like, you know, rock climbing and throwing axes at shit after like that night.
Dude. There was a point where he was here in Northern California, and someone didn't tell me until like the day after. I'm like, and I always tell myself, like, if the opportunity ever arises, I am going to buy a 6-pack of Guinness, walk up to Jason Momoa and be like, here you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Have fun.
Let's do this.
Have a great day. Thank you for all your hard work, man. Like, have a great day.
For sure. But Travis, you got to take off.
Yeah, I'm going to see Clown in the Cornfield tonight.
Okay, I was like, what? Your ride's here, man.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so maybe the movie ends and you guys are still going. I'll pop back on. But yeah, I'm going to
Clown in the Cornfield. Look at
independent horror movie. That's why I'm suspending it. And
I didn't even know about this until Dave mentioned it. So
I know I had no idea about the movie too until Wednesday.
And all Emily and the kids are away hanging out with their friends tonight. So it's a Travis night. So I'm going to do that.
Nice.
So no, there's lots of fun. Like I said, maybe I'll pop back on after. If not, you guys have a good weekend. Fun chatting as always. In the comments, whatnot, but maybe I'll be back on later and
enjoy yourself. Enjoy.
See ya. Bye.
All right, take it easy. That's funny. Clown in the Cornfield. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even know about that. I mean, I remember hearing about it, but then I was like, yeah, you're on top of.
Yeah, independent horror, man. It's the most underappreciated genre out there. There's so many things that people don't know about, and that's why streaming has been a big leg up, because you can justify getting these things made, even if you only have like 2 days in the theater. You're gonna make your money back, your risk back on streaming somewhere. So it's pretty cool,
dude. Streaming. I mean, like, you know, I know people like, you know, some people just like poo-poo on streaming, but like I said, I mean, I don't know how many times I've said it when I just find something on Hulu that I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. I'll put it on. Wow, that was kind of cool. And then I just let Hulu pick another one. And then it's like, I never heard of this one. This came out in 2021? What is this about? Oh, it's about a dude and his daughter who are like, you know, out in this adventure. And then every now and then they cut to, or it looks like they're living in Viking times. So it's like fascination. Oh, the dude's actually dying. So it's all make-believe. I'm like, what the fuck? This is like deep. This is art. I'm like getting choked up here. Like, what the fuck? This movie? Where did this movie come from? Oh, it was written and directed by the guy who stars in it. What the fuck? I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, this is a really good movie. And it was, I forgot what the movie was called, but it was the guy that was a band member in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He was the lead singer.
Oh,
yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He wrote and directed and starred in this movie. No, not Sarah. Sarah
other
was
guy.
the bass player. It was the lead singer of the band. In the
dude,
band, for the band, for the
I haven't
band.
seen that movie in like 15 years.
Oh, I love
Allison
that movie.
Peely and all. I saw that in the movie theaters,
It
and I
was
haven't
crazy.
seen
Like
it since.
this
Yeah.
movie started, and I'm like, what the hell
I
is this? Like,
rewatched
this
it
dude-
recently, but
Uh-huh.
only because of the Netflix series. Because let me tell you something. Like I didn't think like fans would turn on Scott Pilgrim, but when that animated show came out, fans were like ass mad about it. Like they were
I
just
didn't
fucking
like it all that much.
mad.
But it was fine. Yeah.
Like I thought, it was doing something different, and it's like, yeah.
I mean,
do
what it
something
was
different.
interesting, I thought it was like when I first saw it, like when I started watching, I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be a continuation. Oh, no, they were kind of almost retelling it a little bit. They were like showing the events of the movie and of the original stuff. So they were kind of doing like, okay, we're going to go really to the source material. And I just kind of was like, all right, that's kind of cool. But I don't know. Whatever Edgar Wright, just fucking that guy just does no wrong. And the fact that movie didn't get the appreciation that it should have gotten when it first came out, because I mean, you watch that movie and you go, Jesus Christ, this movie, like, how do you even make something like this? The comedic timing, the cuts, the edits, everything is
every time they got beat up.
so precise. Like, I just like, how do you even achieve something like this? That's why anytime Edgar Wright makes something, I'm like, okay, I'm there. He's one of my favorite all-time filmmakers because he's just got such a unique style. Everything is so precise. I remember somebody a long time ago talked about how it was like a video you could probably find on, you could still find on YouTube, where they were talking about how normal filmmakers, when they do like a character that's going to be traveling somewhere, normal filmmakers do the tropey, like, okay, I'm going to travel to this part. And they'll do the like, a needle drop. And then they'll do like an aerial shot of the city. And then you'll see shots from outside the car or the airplane. And it's just very blah. It's whatever. It's like a montage. Edgar Wright will just do like quick edits, slamming the door, fucking this. And then all of a sudden you're there. And it's like, yes, that's better. I love that. That's what I love about Edgar Wright. It's like,
it's almost John Hughesian in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Hughes did that a lot.
He did stuff like that.
He did that with Uncle Buck, come to think of it.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, like he did that with Uncle Buck. But yeah, like it's funny because I look at Edgar Wright and like, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And when he was, in heavy working on Ant-Man, I just pointed to that and went, that's his fucking, here you go. Here's my proof of concept that I can do Ant-Man. And then when he didn't get to do Ant-Man, I was like, whoa, that's a crying shame.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. But Running Man, he's doing
Running Man. That's right. Yep.
I'm very curious about how that's going to be. My God. It's going to be interesting. But how we, well, I probably already know how Phil feels about this, but how are we feeling about that Peacemaker trailer?
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
Bye, Phil.
I mean, it's consistent with what the show was. I thought that the thing at the end with the other John Cena was kind of cool. That opens up doors that he doesn't really have to walk through right now.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, there's literally just something that he gets to work with that doesn't have to have any payoff anytime soon. That's how he can explain the fact that his universe is going forward, and anything else that was derivative of that is just out there until such time that we want to use it again. Maybe never, maybe next month. Who knows? So I thought it was an interesting trailer. Did what it needed to do as far as getting you, daisy chained over to being excitement. If you are excitement, I still know a lot of people. Like I said, half the people I know hate the show. The other half are okay with it. This is one of the very few shows where it's like I don't have a majority of one way or another. People either hate it or they love it, and there's nothing in the middle. And I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, the first 3.5 episodes to me were garbage. But there was a turning point.
It picked up,
there's a juncture in the story that made it worth me sticking around. Had they not aired those first 2 episodes at once, that was a smart thing that they did, because I don't think I could have stuck with that show for as long as I did. That airing those first 2 episodes in that first night kept me on board as long as they needed to for me to get interested in this series.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was, when I found out that they were doing a series on him, I was like, why? And then I started watching, I'm like, okay. First episode, I was like, all right, decent. But like you said, it took a little bit to warm up. And then I went, oh, okay, they are taking some serious elements. They are taking some things. But I mean, I will say that, regardless of how you feel about, James Gunn and DCU. People love John Cena, and that's why I emphasized after I broke it down at the beginning of the stream was like it is trending number 2 on YouTube. It's like, it's already over 1 million. It reached there just because it's John Cena is just he's the people love that guy.
Well, plus he's a world champion right now on something
that
a lot of attention.
Too. Yeah, so he's getting a lot of attention with that. So I don't know. There's some interesting concepts. Like I said, there's some Easter eggs in there right at the beginning. Crank toys. I know a lot of people were just like, hey, that's part of the universe. And people are showing screenshots of like Arkham and stuff like that. It is going to be interesting with the whole pocket universes thing with the what I call the Monster Inc. doors. Is like the fact that, is this how they show like, there was this and there was that. That's what intrigues me most is like, how do you explain that now there's this universe when you start off the trailer with him trying to get a gig with Max Lord's, Justice Gang or whatever they're going to be calling them. And you have Guy Gardner, you have Hawk Girl there that are trying to interview. And then we get our first look at Sean Gunn, and they did their best job of making him look stylish.
Yeah.
I'm still not whatever when it comes to that casting. But
it was a good move to have at least open with that just to again.
I think it was good.
Making the connections. I agree with William. And like it's more of the same. I enjoyed Peacemaker. It's a fun show. I think Cena's for years now has some great comedic timing. He knows exactly what to do. He leans into it. And it's not going to be bad. It's going to be fun. You don't take it seriously, and
nothing with Maxwell Lord in it can be taken seriously. Sorry.
Correct.
One thing I'll say right here, right now, like I said, just something, an instinct that I've been thinking about. He will refer to the Flash several times before this is all over. James Gunn will use the Flash several times before we're done with James Gunn in regards to fleshing out in the bones. There's a reason why he thought he's going to use that movie and how it was structured to explain some things. Don't know exactly how, but I think that is going to be the case. I think that you will see things that were used. I don't think fans use shitty terms like reboot and all this. I don't think creators do that. I think creators see things and they use it at their disposal. I think he will be using certain elements that were not necessarily his to explain things that are, especially when things have crossed over, when there are mutual things. I think that I got a suspicion that's how that may turn out.
Interesting. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens when it comes to that, but yeah. But yeah, a lot of people, of course, you have to show that little ending scene just to be like, okay, that's where people start scratching their heads. Other things with it, you got a Harcourt who's like got anger issues, which, okay, cool. And then
the masculinity thing.
Yeah, the whole toxic you have toxic masculinity, and then just like, what? I thought, funny. But but it's going to be interesting, like, because you have Max Lord, and then you have those two showing up. Then you just kind of go like, well, who else might be showing up in this series? Now that James Gunn can play, now he's got access to the toys fully. He didn't have full access the first time. He had partial access because obviously he wanted to have the entire Justice League and that ending, the finale. And for some reason they said no to Batman and no to Cyborg. You can have everybody else. We'll have Shadow Wonder Woman, Shadow Superman, but we'll actually have Momoa and Ezra show up for Flash and then say a dumb joke. I still, it was a cool shot to see when he's walking up and you see them show up. Cool. But then the interaction, I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Now those people have been replaced, and he's replaced those people in many respects. So yeah,
I know.
It's going to be interesting. I guarantee you. I bet you a comic on the wall, you'll see Ezra Miller in this series at some point.
No.
I will bet you. And
Are you kidding me?
Okay.
You think that Ezra Miller is going to show up in this?
Junkie, you when you come to Vegas, you can pick the one off the wall. I think at some point you are going
Ezra
to
Miller's been out. There's no way that's happening, dude.
Okay, I'll make a bet. Like I said,
all right.
I'll put a bet. You can come to the wall, one of the variant walls, and you can grab your own.
I thought you were just. No,
I didn't think
you're going
to
Ezra
see him
would
in
show
that
up
character.
again.
I think he's going to use that character to do something that did the thing. Like I said, that's just a thought, but I'll make a bet. Like I said, I'll put my money where the mouth is. And you can, like I said, when you ever do come down to Vegas, even though the million times I've invited you and you say, oh, but if you ever do make it across to the other desert, then yeah, I think that you're going to see the Flash again. And I
Absolute
think
Batman number 10. I'll make that bet right now.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
I told him
the four of you on the screen. Well,
Ezra Miller is not showing up in the Flash.
Not showing up in the
Flash. You already did. I won the bet.
Not showing up in the Peacemaker.
He's not showing up in Peacemaker. Absolute Batman number 10. You'll ship me a free copy. Watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think. What do you?
I don't have any. I don't have any instances.
Add to this. Pick your comic book that you need to get.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna show up?
No.
See, it's like I said, I'm thinking you're going to see him in that character again. And I don't think James Gunn has the kind of compunction. What is James Gunn doesn't care about a lot of the stuff that plagued Ezra Miller. He didn't give a shit about any of that.
I don't think
James Gunn is clearly a man who does not look at these things the same way that people who say never, they're not James Gunn. James Gunn his brain does something different.
He doesn't take it as religion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I can this not just this law, John. When you come to Vegas, when you finally make, in fact, this is a safe bet because I will be in our 90s before you decide to come. But when you do come, we'll walk you around. We'll say, pick that one. We'll have to get a certain window of time.
Will. Yeah, I'll definitely. Because I do not. I mean, that's an okay. We're gonna hold this bet. I mean, obviously, it comes out August 21st, and then we probably got I don't know how many episodes we have or anything like that. But I don't know.
Delayed.
I
said I wouldn't be mad if it got delayed.
It's not going to get delayed.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Real Anarchy put 500. Listen, now we'll go with the.
I also wanted to bring up this super chat from Tony Movie Chappie D now, because he did it first. I'll get to Real Anarchy. I was like, oh shit, I got a couple of super chats. Who's the worst studio head? Bob, Chikep, wherever the hell his name is, Kevin Sujihara. That's all you got to say right there. Kevin Sujihara.
Done deal.
Yeah, Bob Chapek was just bad at managing a studio. Kevin Sujihara got ousted for a fucking scandal. It's pretty clear which one was worse.
And he was bad at his job.
He was bad at his job. He fucked over Zack. Yeah, we can totally say Sujihara 100%. But yeah, and then of course Ben out there, Real Anarchy said, "I put 500 on it. Let's do it." Okay, we're gonna have fun with this one, William. I never would have thought that you would even say something like that. Really?
Only because here's the reason why. First of all, like I said, James Gunn's he's a fan, but he doesn't exist on the internet scape to where we get caught up in the stupid shit that we say about, well, this person will never do this. So
with me.
So, yeah, but the bottom line is he's a studio head and not one of us. So I think he is going to refer to that movie to
let's make sure we have an understanding. Okay, yeah, he could refer to the movie, but you're saying 100% that you think that Ezra as the Flash, as Barry Allen, will show up in Peacemaker?
I don't think there's going to be a reason to use another Flash if he refers to it in the way that I'm thinking. Okay. I don't think it doesn't make any sense for him to if he's referencing that as how his universe and how if you watch the Flash, how he kept going back and everything got changed a little bit each time. That is where I think that split that you see in Peacemaker.
Okay.
That is how the nature of that happens, and I don't think you can do that without him.
Okay, so if we're gonna have this bet. So say that there is a reference to the events of the Flash. Now, are you talking about, so if Ezra Miller shows up, you're talking about, is Ezra Miller going to just show up where he literally, within the shooting of season 2, he shows up? Or if they show a flashback, does that count?
If you see him going back and forth and doing something, is that Flash? And because I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
But not new footage of him as a Flash.
No, I think he's going to use him. Well, you'll use him. It could be, but once again, I know it sounds off crazy, but we're talking about a guy who I think is not crazy, but I don't think he thinks in type of the same boxes that people in the chat and people online do. because he's the actual creative. Like I said, it could be completely wrong. I'm willing to bet a comic on it. But if I think that if I can't think that he's going to do it using that movie as a reference, and then on the other side of my face say, well, the main thing that would cause that would be absent. I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me. But once again, it's out there. No, it's out there.
Okay. I mean,
we're talking comic book movies. We're talking about crazy shit like this. So why not?
So the bet is we have to see Ezra Miller as the Flash.
This has to be Ben. That has to be Ben.
Of course, it's Ben. Yes, he's the one that runs that shit. Of course. So yeah, we have to. Yeah, but he's got a point. You have to be specific here when it comes to this. So we have to physically, whether it's past or present, we have to see Ezra Miller as the Flash, not just being talked about. Right?
See him as the Scarlet Speedster. I think you would have.
So the bet is we see him whether it was past or present.
Yes, you will see him in this.
But if he's just talked about, that doesn't count.
No, I think you would. No, that would count. Just a reference, right?
You will actually see Ezra Miller as a Flash, whether it's obviously from the past or like they get him back somehow. Okay.
As a tool to explain why these. Yeah.
Okay.
Once again, like I said,
it's a different question.
Okay.
I have a very different question.
Okay.
Why does Maxwell Lord look like a used car salesman?
Yeah, I heard you access today.
He is.
Because that's what he's trying to go for.
Good God.
It's Sean Gunn. They had to do something.
But not even that. You look at him in JLI, everything like that. He looks like a sleazy businessman. That's who he is.
I guess I'm gonna have to look at other panels because I've seen a couple different panels of Max Lord and
not the one where he was like a badass
I've seen that and I've also seen him as a businessman. I've seen, like I said, I've seen very different versions. But still, like,
good, but it can be better.
There you go. Right, like we now have two versions of Maxwell Lord where he's dressed up in a cheap suit. It's pretty crazy.
We went from Pedro Pascal to Sean Gunn.
I just find it so funny that the first verbal dialogue spoken by these characters wasn't in a Superman movie. It was in a fucking trailer for Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of funny and ironic and a little sad. Honestly, like, I've got really nothing nice to say about this trailer, to be brutally honest.
I figured you wouldn't.
Like, the only thing that's kind of keeping me going is the whole, Rick Flag gunning for Peacemaker. That's kind of the only thing I've got vested interest in. Outside of that, you've got Freddie Strowman and John Cena and their whitey tighties. I'm like, well, that's par for the fucking course. You got some dickhead therapist telling Harcourt she suffers from toxic masculinity, and I'm just like, who the fuck wrote this? Then I remember who the fuck wrote this. I'm just like, dude, okay, right? But the whole pocket dimension thing, him running into another version. Ironically enough, the other version that has the gun pointed at him, I looked at that suit and I was like, that looks like the Peacemaker core suit from Absolute Superman. That's what that reminded me of. I was like, that's a cool visual nod, I suppose. But the whole like, oh, we're gonna take an audition for Peacemaker to join this new crew, and you've got Isabella Merced and fucking Nathan Fillion, and they're all there with Max Lord, and it's like,
talking about his
fuck is this? Yeah, right. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Okay, whatever. Cheeky humor, haha. See me being funny. I'm just like, man, this is one show I'm not looking forward to. Just get me to Lanterns, please.
That's what I'm getting that T-shirt made. By the way, I'm getting T-shirts made that just say "Get me to Lanterns." I
will buy one. I will buy one,
please, because I'm just listen. Maxwell Lord on any format, I can't stand. And like, rest in peace, Keith Giffen and Jim DeMantis. Keith Giffen is a comic god, but not for anything he did with Justice League. Nothing would get me to put down Justice League quicker than any of his run and that whole JLI, all of that. So Maxwell Lord, to me, it's going to be hard for me to like that character anyway. So I'm already going against it. But Rick Flag, I mean, there's some elements that came over. I do like the character development that in that trailer. It looks like it is carried over. I actually, like I said, in the same ways in a much more articulate way in Thunderbolts. The same reason I liked the both of them were because of the character development. These people started off as people that I could cast off at any point in time, and at the end of whatever their time is, I actually cared about what happened to those people. So James Gunn can do that. So even with shitty characters I don't care about, like Guy Gardner and Maxwell, there's that doesn't mean that at the end of this season I won't be like, well, fuck, that sucks that he got stepped on. It might end up that way. So, but yeah, I mean, he's a fan of that era of Justice League, and that's just what I'm going to have to endure if I want to get through this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I mean, like, I was intrigued. I was like, oh, hey, like I said, this is like one of those characters where I was not thrilled about it, but again, it's like John Cena is very likable, and I went, okay, well, let's see. And then, of course, when this trailer showed up, I was like, okay, now there's no way that they are the only ones that are going to be showing up in this new universe. I'm just kind of going, okay, who else is going to be showing up in this as well? Because it just seems like, oh, yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a Superman that's going to show up, or we actually get a Superman and get a cameo of Corn Sweat. Could very well happen because, again, now James Gunn has full access to all of that. I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be anything that he sets up, little things that go, oh, yeah, there's like little things that could be set up for all this. But yeah, I mean, I think the whole pocket universe stuff is going to really be the thing that goes, oh, yeah, this is how we kind of do the whole DCEU to DCU thing. Sure. But I mean, who knows how that plays out? And then, of course, when we see the crew, I don't know. There's a lot of things, a lot of questions. It raised a lot of questions for me where I went, all right, I'm intrigued. You got me. You have my attention when it comes to Peacemaker. So at least there's that. But, there's that. And then, of course, today we also got a still from, Superman that didn't have James Gunn in it. At least.
Are you sure? I kind of saw that shadow in the background.
Wait a minute. He's actually playing the robot. That's what's happening. It was a good little still. It was like, okay, so Screen Rant got a still, and it was like, okay, yeah. And it's obviously they're selling it heavily with crypto, which I totally understand, because it's like that's going to be that's going to put butts in the seats for sure. But yeah, Screen Rant. I'm trying to find it right here. Jesus Christ, I can't even find it on in my notification. Hold on. But I'm sure you guys saw it, of course. But but I mean, I did post this too right here, where I was like, I mean, come on, we've all been there where like the let's see, where's that? Okay, were you waiting for the Amazon guy to drop off your package before you open the door? Come on, anybody? When you know that they're there and you're like, oh, they're dropping it off, and you don't want to open it quite right away until they drop it off, take the picture, and then walk off. Anyways, bad joke, I get it. But yeah. You don't wear whitey tighties waiting for the... Okay.
No. I wear boxers like a normal man.
Yeah, boxers. I didn't know he made whitey tighties anymore.
I'm kidding. Come on. But yeah, but this is actually a pretty good shot right here, because it does show the Fortress of Solitude full on. They didn't zoom in, which was kind of cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I like it.
He either chewed something up or he pissed somewhere in the fortress.
Yeah, I hope he didn't piss. I don't want. There's probably going to be a piss joke somewhere in here, and I'm like, I don't do piss jokes. Like, kids don't do piss jokes, but
I mean, he's not. James Gunn is absolutely a person who would do a piss joke. I mean, for fuck's sake, we're talking about a guy who included a penis joke on fucking beaches in the Suicide Squad. Like, poop humor is not above him. He's a fan of it, and well,
pee-pee humor.
Yeah, right.
So I'm hoping not, but at the same time, we'll see what happens. But I will say, I do like this shot, though. I do like this shot of the fortress, and I like the fact that it's like, hey, suit looks. Obviously, there's always been reservations about the suit. Suit looks decent right here. It looks like it just especially from here, it's like traditional Superman suit. Just looks. Everything that doesn't look, obviously it's not up close. It looks good. Corn Sweat looks good. Everything looks good in here. I mean, yeah, that one crystal next to the robot looks very phallic. But hey, they all look phallic. And there you go. That's probably James Gunn. Like, yeah, make it look more like it. No, I'm just kidding. But and then you got the robots in there, and there's some. It's just the Fortress of Solitude. I think it's just those scenes are just going to be very interesting, and I just like the sci-fi fantasy element that he's adding to it. Because as much as I love the grounded Superman stuff, yeah, great. But at the same time, I'm all about this because I think there's going to be heavily animated Fleischer and Paul Dini and all of them. Superman the animated series very heavily inspired when it comes to all this, and I think that's what we're going to be really getting. I'm like, yeah, that's the way to go. Try to bring life to the animation that we've gotten for Superman. If you can achieve that, I'll be a happy dude.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to the Snyder era of Superman, the Fortress of Solitude there was, internalized. It was more of a thing. I mean, a lot of people thought
more internalized, and then the ship and
right, and it's like, more of a real take on it, I suppose.
Yes.
This is, all things considered, all joking aside, I think the Fortress being included in this it's a nice return to form as far as Superman specifically is concerned in live action. Because Batman has his Batcave, Green Arrow has the Arrow Den, fucking all these characters have their own places of pondering, if you will. And I think Superman having his own
Fortress
space
of Solitude, as it were.
Correct. Yes, you knew what I was throwing down, Chris, as always. Thank you. But it just from a live action perspective, it's just nice to visually see something that is, kind of taking the best of a couple different worlds and put it into, a realistic setting. Whether or not it operates in the same way as a pocket dimension, I don't know. I think that's a neat idea, but you're going to have to explain that in a pretty dumb way for general audiences, I suppose.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I still think the whole, hitting him with excessive sun rays is a little overthought, but that's a whole different conversation. Overall, I'm excited to see what else is inside of this Fortress of Solitude, because we're not getting the origin again, which I think is good, but I want to see if there's any memorabilia of any other things that he's fought, say like a metal arm from Metallo, or maybe a Bottle City of Candor. I hope not, because I want to see this version of Superman fight a Brainiac, but
yes,
to be brutally honest, I just want to watch Superman fight Brainiac in a fucking movie. That would just be nice. But yeah, I want to see what other little nods and Easter eggs are inside his Fortress of Solitude, because, even going to the animated movie, Superman, Batman Apocalypse, a good portion of the beginning of that movie takes place inside the Fortress of Solitude. And I want to see life from the planet Krypton. I want to see, who's playing Jor-El, even though I think we all know who's probably playing Jor-El. I want to see this stuff realized in ways that I've seen in, various animated versions and, other takes in live action. So
yeah,
I like it. It's a cool image.
Yeah, it's a good image. I'm glad that they released it. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, everything I've been seeing from this is James Gunn finding a way to bring the Silver Age mixed with modern interpretation. I mean, it's one can call it the campiness, one can call it the quote unquote fun side of Superman, and bringing a modern spin on it. This isn't anti-Snyder. This isn't pro-Donner. This is just, again, going back to what the original title for this movie was, Superman Legacy. He can get rid of the legacy part of it, but everything I've seen from this is an honoring of the legacy of the hero that we know as Superman.
Right.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is
which is fine. That's okay.
You can tell when someone says, "Oh, they're leaning into Donner for the Fortress." It's just I'm sorry, have you not read any comic book with Superman in it? Because that whole Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, not only that, what does it matter? But also just you understand the Fortress of Solitude completely predates everything that Richard Donner did with the character, right? No? Okay. Maybe you should read some more comics if you're claiming to be a comic book fan of this.
What? You got to tell him to read comics? Jeez.
Sad state of the world.
He might actually
That's a sad state. That is a sad, because apparently, again, even when I argue with some of these people, either side, I go, wait a minute. Well, when they give shit to what Zack did, and then all of a sudden it's you could literally just pull up a panel of wait, that's referencing this. And they go, and then you do the other side of hey, it's referencing this. It's okay, you guys just became fans because you like the director. I mean, Just say that. I mean,
Which
I
is
would
also
actually
okay.
be happy.
Or
with
say
it.
you don't like the era. Say you don't listen. There are going
Or
to be
say
things
that.
throughout the DCU because based on where his inspirations are coming from, some of his inspirations are coming from parts of the lore that I have no use for.
Yeah.
So that's that. That doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It's just that I'm like, oh, okay, a dog with a cape. You know, that's not the kind of Superman that I'm attracted to. But it's one I'll watch. I'll give it a shot. But it's easier to say, hey, I'm not clicking with the era that he's representing. But that's a different thing to say. Well, it sucks or anything like that. That's all.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah. When I see all the stuff, when I see all the craziness online, I'm like, I every time if I have some of these, whoever shows up, whether it's a Gunn fan or a Snyder fan, I click on their profile and I just look at what they're posting, and I'm like, well, I know where you stand just by scrolling through for about 3 seconds. I know where you stand, you know,
dude. It's the same way on Threads. It's the same. Sorry, Chris, I don't mean to cut you real quick, but
No, go for it.
Just to agree with Dave, like it's the same way on Threads. You know, you see people comment. You know, say, for example, I could say something positive about anything Zack Snyder did with Man of Steel, BVS, whatever, and I'll get someone in my mentions just, you know, taking a dump on it. You go and look at their profile, and I shit you not, it's literally James Gunn. Can you confirm? They're literally just adding James Gunn for fucking questions upon questions upon questions, or ball gargling him about Superman. I'm just like, well, okay, that explains why you're coming into my mentions talking shit. Block. But yeah, it's the same fucking it's the same way, dude. It's the same fucking bullshit one way or the other, no matter where you go on social media. But it's just, man, it's just sad. It's just really
that's why
sad.
Superman talk. That's why, like I said, I was saying a couple weeks ago, not all Superman fans, but a good percentage of Superman fans of all the fandoms I'm involved with, I steer clear the fastest and the furthest away from Superman fans. I can't. It's no longer as fun because we can't have a conversation about, you know, okay, you like the cheesy, soft Wonder Bread version of Superman, and let's talk about why you like it, and that's kind of cool. And then when I talk about, you know what, I like this version of Superman, it's not a weaponization. It's not your version of Superman. It's not a sledgehammer to go upside somebody's head with one way or another. If you like the cheese, that's great. That's part of Superman. If you like the darker stuff, that's great. That's part of Superman. But it's almost impossible to have that kind of conversation. And then you have people, okay, so when July 11th comes around, are you going to be able to judge the movie for the movie you saw, or to back up your point, your preconceived notion about the Superman? It's like that.
No, there's already people that have their, you know, it was funny too, because somebody today, and who knows, I don't know, I didn't even respond. Sometimes I respond when I click and I see that they have like 6 followers. I'm like, this probably is a burner. Who knows? But even somebody was like, oh, do you already have your, you know, your positive review for James Gunn Superman already written? And I was like, and then I just looked and went, nah, it's not worth my time. I was like, nah, I'm just going to skip it, you know, because sometimes, you know, I like to interact and just kind of ask questions.
That one guy you interacted with, I'm like, what, why did you, I can't believe you gave that guy 2 seconds. I'm like, okay.
Who?
The one where you said he knows the hell out of it. Yeah, that one.
The one that called me out?
Yeah.
You
went back and forth a couple of times. And I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah, there was that one guy because I just who was having a meltdown. You talk about?
Yeah, I mean, over. Listen, it's not that. This is sad to see. And this is coming from somebody who profits from you getting excited about these things. It's not worth calling somebody a name over it. If I call you an asshole over Superman, I'm the asshole. That's. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a movie. If it comes out and it's great. You know, if it comes out and it sucks, it won't be the first movie to do either or. And it's just like, damn, people are so much is riding on this movie that has nothing to do with the movie. It's just like you're betting on a horse. It's like, oh.
No, I get it. But sometimes I just feel a little like, you know, I feel a little snippy. I feel a little bit, you know, there's something like, and Sunday I was feeling that. So especially after the whole Ben Affleck thing, because, you know, the Ben Affleck clip that came out, and 4-second clip, and I remember I saw it, and I got people tagging me into it and then sending me it, and I was like, at first I went, oh fuck, here we go, and I knew it was going to be something.
We thought we got past this the other week.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be something. So then I hesitated, and I was just watching baseball. I was editing clips and doing the thing, and I was just trying to just be productive. And at first I was like, at first, because it showed up, I think it showed up a couple or few hours before I even posted about it. And I didn't want to even touch it because I was already seeing it, but I knew I was going to eventually have to. And then finally I did. And then I was like, all right. And I just posted that. And then, of course, I did a follow-up going, it was a 4-second clip. He gave the generic response, and then he dipped. And it was like, not really anything. And I'm like, cool. And then all of a sudden it just, of course, that's when the swarm of certain fans just came into my mentions. And that's where I was like, all right, time to just, hey, let's get a little snippy. Let's, you know, it's Sunday night. Yeah, let's, fun police. Let's do this shit. And that's why, you know, I kind of, because I get the same, when I see the same names show up, I'm like, all right, let me just call them out and see what happens. I'm not going to be like a total douche. I'm not going to like insult them. They send insults to me, but I'm going to be like, hey, you know, like one certain guy quote tweeted me, then deleted it because he realized how stupid the tweet was. And I kept on going, hey, why'd you delete this? And then there was another guy that said, ignore me. And I was like, yeah, you can. I'm not trying to dictate anybody's opinion. Do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to do hashtags and campaigns and obsess over the same fucking 3 DC movies for the rest of your lives, go ahead. You're going to get pushback, but go ahead. You can block me. You can do this. And then there's that other guy who was having like a meltdown saying I'm a washed up YouTuber and saying all this and doing all the things. And I'm just like, okay, let me show this. And I was having a little fun. You know, I can have a little fun when it comes to, but I just see these guys and I've interacted with them. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to push back and do that. But, you know, I try not to do that a lot. I don't go into their mentions and try to be like, you know,
they come at you. And if somebody comes to me and they're excited about James Gunn's Superman, I'm just going to let them be excited about it. Be excited about it. There's no, you know, reason. I'm not going to use, and like I said, I go back and forth with my co-hosts about this, is like, I can't take this whatever anger or whatever I had over what happened from 2017 out on it's this is not, those people are gone. Those ghosts are gone. They have left the building. And so I'm willing to give this a try. Like I said, will I always prefer a certain one until I see other things? Yeah. Because that's what preference is. But that doesn't mean I don't want, I'm not curious to see what's going on. Now, like I said, the tonal wise from what I've seen might not be for me, but guess what? There's other things in this universe that I could be like, okay, Lantern, just like the MCU. Listen, I adore Thor movies, but there's some great stuff in the MCU that's epic stuff. So there's no universe, if it lasts long enough, that's going to have everything in it that I like. But what I'm not going to do, though, is like I said, I am sad that I had idiots running a company into the ground that made poor decision and were going to give me Gleek the fucking monkey and Wonder Twins and a whole bunch of other things like that. I'm sad that those people had a long run. But now I have a studio. I have a studio head. I have the one thing.
And that's what we always wanted.
Yeah.
We always had that
back in 2013. If you'd have had that back in 2013, we wouldn't be on this screen right now.
We would not be. Well, maybe we would have found each other somehow.
In a different way.
Chris, I know you've been wanting to say.
But here's the kind of thing that people seem to forget. Like, you're arguing over a character that in the definition, the core of the character of Superman tries to see the best in humanity itself, and not just humanity, like anyone. Always is trying to find the best. They may have differences of opinion, but he'll always strive to see the best. For crying out loud, he'll continue to try to see the best in Lex Luthor. You know, find a way to bring that out too. So you are basically, it's okay to have an opinion of what's your favorite version of the character. We all have a favorite version. We all have a favorite interpretation. That's okay too. But when you start going after other people for saying, this is my favorite Superman, well, your gatekeeping is showing, but you've now destroyed what exactly the character stands for itself. The core of the character, you're now standing against what they stand for. You know?
Yeah,
again, it's a fictional character, but I'm just bringing out a point saying you're fighting against what you actually like.
No, and then that leads into when Zack posted on Henry Cavill's birthday that, hey, happy birthday to Henry Cavill, the greatest Superman ever. And then the other side, the Gunn fans lost their fucking shit, and the diehard Christopher Reeve, they're like, no, he's not. And I had people come at me with that. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's all opinion. Of course, Zack's gonna say his Superman that he directed is the greatest Superman. And of course he's going to do that. And I think even Zack was kind of being a little cheeky because he posted, Cavill in the fucking Reeves costume. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to be a little cheeky. Fuck it. I'm wishing him happy. I think he was being a little cheeky, and I don't mind that because look what happened. And I started getting shit from those people, and I started pushing back. I was like going, are you goddamn kidding me? This is like, it is literally just opinion. Like, I think Henry Cavill, in my opinion, my favorite Superman. I think he's the best Superman. Reeves, close second, for sure. But at the same time, I just resonated with Cavill Superman. And even though we got only 3 movies, it just, I just like what Zack did with them. So I would think that too, but it's a fucking opinion. And yeah, and it's just crazy how, again, but this is what Zack said on Rogan, this shit's like religion to people. And it really is, where they just kind of they get into this mindset of like, this is the only way. This is the only way. It's like, no, it's not. You go into a comic book shop and you see all these fucking different interpretations. There's not one way. Yeah, you don't have to like every way, but nobody's like wrong. Nobody's this, nobody's that. And yeah, it does get ugly. It does get ugly, and it does get crazy. But hey, what can you do,
To see the difference between the papers and the staples in the cinematic versions is it becomes a religion because there are moments and cinematic moments. In papers and staples, it's a brotherhood. It's it's sort of a religion, but it's a brotherhood because you're looking at somebody who prefers a certain era of Superman versus yours as still a Superman fan. Whereas when it comes to cinematic, it's like I always said, when somebody says they don't like something or something gets replaced by another version that person grew up with, they hold on to this moment as if it were a possession that somebody's trying to take away from them. And it's like The Crow, that shitty movie that came out. I still have Brandon Lee. I still have 1994. Mm-hmm. Red Dawn remake was awful. I still have 1984 awful, right? So if you're thinking about it in the right way, you understand that nobody can take away your memory. But I think these guys take it personally. Donner's Superman means a lot to a lot of 6-year-olds back then. I'm one of them. But at the same time, I desire different things from the Superman I see on screen right now. But, if you make a new one, if I don't like James Gunn's Superman, that's not going to do. They're not going to take Man of Steel out of existence.
Or the entire Snyderverse. That's like 10 hours.
Yeah, it's there.
Not if they go through that pocket universe, William. They're going to come through that door and take my collection.
It's going to stay there.
Man, but it's just weird that there's so many people that are just so hard on the universe is going to be restored. And I'm like, is it really going to get restored? I mean, like, come on. Like, that's where I started thinking, like, come on, guys.
I hate it because for so long, from the moment I met you in our phone, I found you in Juan Swinman, we were all on the same side as far as that goes, as far as like wanting it. Now, once you've gotten it, and the practicality of it is, and it kills me because I know how they feel, but I'm no longer at that level to the point where let's be practical.
Yes.
When you say this live action or nothing, you're getting nothing. Because you have a better argument for an absolute Batman to make a appearance other than papers and staples than you ever will when it comes to anything in the Snyderverse, because you have math and you have metrics. People are like, well, I won't compromise. In order to compromise, you have to have something. Yes. Right now, I hate to say if you are somebody who wants to this whole restore the Snyderverse thing, I'm gonna resolve the Snyderverse thing. Right now, you're sitting at the poker table. You're not even at the table. You're the guy standing behind the guy who has the money to play. You're about to get escorted out. All right, so start, if you ever were to get this in any format, primarily this one, then take it. And then guess what? In the next 5 or 10 years, if somebody says, you know what, that sold 450,000 copies, I think I can make some money off of it. Yeah. Let's do it then. But right now you have nothing. Yeah. You can't just kick down the door and say, well, I want it. You're going to say, sir, security, escort this guy out and make sure he doesn't get back in again. But if you come in with math,
in fact, taste him just a little bit, just for fun.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I mean. I see people like, oh, it's got to get restored. I'm like, but then I started asking questions. The main thing, like when I was having my last little squabble with like some of these guys, I started asking questions. I was like, hey, you do realize that Justice League was shot 9 years ago, right? I mean, it was like, it's crazy to think about. I don't think people realize that. And I always want to bring that forth. I'm like, Justice League, the principal photography was 9 years ago, and we're going to be creeping up on 10. It's like, it's crazy. Like, it's almost going to be a decade. And then I go, okay, so obviously I want to see what the initial story was going to be, because the story was supposed to be like boom, 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 like from Man of Steel to BBS to Justice League to Justice League 2, Justice League 3. It was not supposed to be that much of a time jump. I would like to see that story. That's why it's always been the idea. And I, was talking about this. It was like, yeah, it's not that I'm campaigning for animation. It was just the idea, just to get the story out there, to get the story told. That's what it is. Or in comic book form. I just want to see the story. So, but if they do a live action, then it cannot be that. It's got to be rearranged to some legacy sequel where it's a Kingdom Come, like Jay Leba talked about at one point, or something like that. And I'm like, and I'd be okay with that too. Like, even what Ben said, anything is possible, which I think is smart, because he's said a lot of times where he's done and then he comes back, then he's done, then he's come back, and then even recently said, I'm not interested in the genre anymore. And I'm like going, okay, he's not interested in the genre. He's doing good things for his production company, and I want him to continue to do those good things and make original movies and help artists and creators get the pay that they should get, and make new stories. And if he ends up, hey, donning the suit again 5-10 years from now, hey, Michael Keaton did it. So it was a good PR thing of like, hey, anything could happen. But I wasn't sitting there going, oh my God, it's happening like some. And that's where I was kind of like going, oh yeah, no, let's relax a little bit here. But then when it came to Zack posting that, I was like, good on Zack. I retweeted. I said, fuck yeah. I was like all about it. And then I got hell from the other side. And I was going, fuck off, guys. Like, are you serious? Like, who cares? People were saying, oh, Snyder's a narcissist. He's doing that. I'm like, shut up. Like, you guys are just as bad.
There are people who, when I bring up the comic, because obviously I prefer that format because it gives you everything. So some person, and I saw some person, pretty prominent person, say, well, why would they even do that? Because you know how expensive it is to make comic books? And I lost my fucking mind. I'm like, I know exactly how much it costs to make a comic book. I know exactly how probable a comic book can be. I know exactly how risk averse a comic book can be. It's exactly. So paper and staples. It's not platinum and glue. It's paper and staples, mass production.
Wait, you're telling me the comic books aren't lined with gold?
But I'm like, if you were going to, in any format you were ever going to, take a risk on, this behind me is the cheapest format you could ever do.
And it's going to happen. I guarantee you it's going to happen. Just like it did happen with Batman 89 and Superman 78. I just would not be surprised if Jim Lee's like, all right, let's fucking do this, Zack. Because he even pitched that. Zack would actually want that. But Chris, I know you got a soccer game tomorrow, so you got to take off, man. All
right, Chris.
Yeah. It is one of those times where, got to be a dad, got to
do the dad
stuff
thing
at that point. But I have to, get some sleep so that I can cheer on my kids. So
there you go. Love it. All right. Well, have a good time.
Good seeing y'all.
All right.
See you later.
Have a good night.
Follow Chris and everything and all that they do, Greek verse and everything. So
check it out.
I'm trying to plug for you.
Oh no, I appreciate it. All the Geekverse stuff, Marvel lines, all that stuff. All right, catch y'all later.
Thanks, Chris.
See you later.
But it was very interesting to do because it was like two different things in 2 different days. Sunday posting the Ben Affleck video, and then I posted my opinion on it, and that's where the swarm came in from the diehard Snyder guys. And
I was watching it, I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I know. I know I shouldn't engage, but sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just like in a snarky mood. But then it was kind of funny seeing the reaction to the initial post of the Ben Affleck video where everybody's just like going, Jesus Christ, he just dipped. He didn't want to talk about Batman. He's so embarrassed about Batman. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was seeing that stuff too. It's like, no, he's not embarrassed about being Batman.
The problem is? You know what the problem is some of these fans who act like they've been around. And look, William's a certified fan in his own right. He's older than both of us. I'm not even like using that as a slight, but like people around his age who think they know better, they treat their fucking opinions like they're facts. There are a couple people that I used to not really run into, but there were people on Twitter who have this little circle and they act like they're fucking better than everyone. They're predominant Batman fans and they have this little circle jerk and they think they're fucking better than everyone else. And they talk a whole lot of shit about Batman. They prop up 89 on this pedestal. They prop up the Dark Knight on some fucking pedestal. They basically act like everyone is beneath them and they act like their opinions are facts. And that is reverberated to a bunch of other people on the internet. The problem is a lot of these fans think their opinion as outright facts. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people about Man of Steel and they tell me, oh, I fucking hate that Superman didn't save his dad from being murdered by a tornado. And I just go, well, he wasn't Superman at that point. He was Clark Kent. He was still like young. And they go, what do you mean? I was like, in the context of the movie and the story, he's not Superman yet. So therefore your argument kind of falls apart. Well, he's still Superman. He should have saved him. I said, no, he wasn't Superman by that point. And it just becomes this big fucking like dick measuring contest of I'm right, you're wrong. And it's like, okay, you know what? You don't like what they did in the movie. That's totally fine. But don't sit there and be an asshole about it on the internet because, man, that is the thing to do. And it has been the thing to do since 2016.
Yeah.
And then even to that scene right there, too, is like, I remember initially, I even thought like, really? Why did they do it like that? Because I always like the fact that, you know, that when Jonathan had a heart attack, that's the one thing that Superman couldn't save him. Yeah, but to your point, he's not Superman yet. And then I finally like went, oh, wait a minute. I shouldn't look at it like that because first off, Zack was doing something completely different. And this was all about Jonathan not exposing his son for being this super being because he wasn't sure how it was going to be handled. And he was worried so much about his son being exposed. He's like, you're not ready. And that's why he does the whole, don't do it. Not yet. This is not your time yet. Because he knew it's not your time. You were still young. You do not do it. At first, I did not like it. I will admit, I've admitted that before. But then over time, I went, oh, wait, that's actually kind of really cool how he changed that.
Well, there's also like this added level of like, not only does he like tell his son, don't do it. A lot of people really tend to like gloss over the fact of like the conversation that's had right before that tornado happens. That's the last conversation he has with Jonathan Kent. Clark not only has to live with the fact that like his father said, no, don't, because if you do, you're going to fucking change the world and you're not ready for that yet. That is the last fucking time he ever saw his dad. And that conversation was him telling him, you're not even my real father. Imagine the unbearable fucking weight he had to live with until he became Superman.
And then, of course, when it goes to BBS, I'll get to you, William. Sorry, but I just want to say this point. Like I was just saying, to get to the point to BBS, which I think is just a beautiful moment, is the fact that when you have the intercut before Batman and Superman go head to head, they are talking about their fathers. Like Clark is going up the mountain and he talks to his dad through himself. I miss you, Dad. And then we cut to Bruce talking about, I'm older than my father ever was. We were hunters. We're doing this. And so it was just like such a beautiful moment of like, oh, okay. Then you can kind of look back to what happened in Man of Steel obviously for Clark, for him. And it just works. And it's just good storytelling. Go ahead, William. What are you going to say?
Now, if you have a platform, you know, and if we're going on, and you have a disagreement, or say, for instance, like, you know, a certain version, I think it's important to articulate it to the point where, you know, and I learned this where you're not like, the biggest one my chat trolls me on is Batman animated series. Okay, I have a philosophical difference of why I don't like it, but I don't consider you a piece of shit for liking it. I do my best to articulate why I don't think it's a good thing, why I think the trajectory of what Batman, the expectations for what Batman would be for that generation. Not all of you, but that became a reference point that I think hurt the character. That is my opinion. But I always say the same thing with Old Trek fan. I don't care how you got into the house, as long as you ended up at the same dinner table as I did. We'll work out the rest. You know, but sometimes I get people who want to draw me into, well, you think this and you think that. No, I articulated why I don't like certain things. That is my opinion. And I have a scroll down some of the channel where I'm not here to change your mind. Just don't come in trying to change mine. You can have a difference of opinion, but it doesn't need to be a brawl. And that's where, like I said, I mute certain words. I muted Superman for a while because I just really didn't want to talk to Superman fans.
So did I.
And that's sad. A comic book guy who had to mute Superman.
That's how ugly it's gotten. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting when like people like, and they come in and they say, and then when they start just saying like, hey, you're trying to dictate, you're trying to get, I'm like, okay, you guys have been saying this for years now. No, say whatever the fuck you want. I'm not saying that. I'm not crawling up in your mentions and saying you're wrong, you're doing this. You guys are doing that to me. And then all of a sudden when I push back and I start asking questions, then you start going, what the fuck, man? And I'm like, no, I'm just asking questions. And that's the thing is like, what? That's like the ultimate way you can just, when somebody comes at you like with like a strong opinion, the best thing to do is not just to go hard back, is to just start asking questions. Then all of a sudden they start folding. They start going, and they'll fold because you start asking questions about certain things, specific things. Oh man, they just start going, well, they don't know how to answer that. And usually that's how you could just kind of go, okay, I'm just asking questions. You think this, you think that, and I start asking questions. I start bringing up things like I said with the recent thing. I mean, I think some of these people don't realize that Justice League was shot 9 years ago. They think it was still fresh because the Snyder Cut came out 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and it's like, so they think it's like a fresh thing. It's like, no, but that all was shot. You guys got to realize the timeline of things. You got to realize a lot of different things. And I mean, but we can have arguments about certain things. And there's a lot of bullshit that gets put out there. I saw a thing from a website I never heard yesterday that said Matt Reeves is no longer directing the Batman 2. I saw people posting that. I went, what the fuck is this website? I never even heard of this website. Where
production something?
Yeah, you saw that too?
Well, because they tried to bring it up on the show last night, and here's the thing. The one thing my rule is, if I don't know, I don't know. I don't want to look like a jackass because something that has been bandied around by something I've never heard of, it may be true. And in 24 to 48 hours, when it's submitted as true, then we can talk about it. But I've turned off so many YouTube shows that use this. They put it in their headlines, and then they go with it. And then it's like, damn, that's like TMZ. That's like sleaze to me. So
I saw that someone brought it up on Threads, and I was like, oh, you mean the same Production Weekly that said a year ago that Batman Part 2 is going to start filming in August of 2025? Yeah, great source. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was only because like on the latest one they didn't have Matt Reeves listed as director, so then that's where they were like, oh, we're just going to jump to a conclusion. And whatever. I'm like, come on, stop doing this. And that's why I saw it and I'm like, I didn't even like want to talk about it being not true. I mean, this is the first time I'm talking about it like here, but I'm just trying to bring up the point of like, there's just so much BS out there and I see it. You see this and you see that. And there's going to be things too that obviously people found out about when it comes to Superman. But then I'm just kind of going, all right, well, I'm not going to really talk about certain things. I want to see the context of the movie. We're 2 months out. But then at the same time, it's kind of funny too, because I'll see like certain people who, that are not like the crazies, but they'll kind of just like sit back and they have their arms folded. And they're like, I'm not going to, for the most part, they'll be like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. But then they'll let something slip and they'll say something because they're like, oh, I've been holding this back. Now I got to let it slip. Like I literally saw yesterday somebody who, acquaintance with, and they're talking about the Final Destination marketing. And the marketing's been kind of cool. They have like a cool billboard where you show like a fake person who's like dead on the billboard. It looks like somebody who was trying to paint it. And like there's like a blood splatter kind of thing.
Oh, the final,
yeah. And then apparently there's also somebody been driving a truck around that looks like they have fake logs in it, try to represent like Final Destination 2. And they posted and they're like, oh man, this is great marketing. I've really enjoyed this way more than Superman's marketing. I went, dude, Wait. You're posting. Okay. You're saying that you like this better. You're comparing this to Superman. You're comparing a horror movie that's coming back to a superhero movie that is a fresh new take on it. That's, going to be bigger. That's coming out two weeks from now. Final Destination's coming out next week. You're comparing the marketing? oh, you've been holding back. Now all of a sudden you're just like, I gotta make a jab. I gotta make a jab at Superman because I've been holding back. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's some people out there that's just been waiting to just be like, you know what, this is where I'm gonna like make a jab at that. I'm like, but I'm like, make your jabs, but don't but be good about it. Don't compare a superhero movie that's coming out 2 months from now to a horror movie that's coming out a week from now when it comes to marketing.
That has a following, by the way. That Final Destination has a decent following. You market
that movie's probably going to do very well. I can't wait to see it. I'm a Final Destination fucking fan.
I stay away from those movies because I'm superstitious.
Yeah, I get it.
Let me knock on some wood.
I'm there. I'm going to be watching it next week. I rewatched the 5 movies when I first moved in here. I fucking was like, I went down the rabbit hole again just to rewatch it, and I love the movies. 4 kind of shitty. But the rest of them, I really enjoy. But yeah, I'm totally down. But I was just like, when I saw that, I was like, damn. And there was another example too, I can't remember, where I saw where it's just like, yeah, it just kind of seems like, oh yeah, now is my time to finally make my jab at this. I can't remember what the other one example was, but it was just kind of funny to be like, oh, you were waiting for a right opportunity because you've been kind of just, I'm not going to be one of the crazies and say things every day because, again, some of the people, like some of those guys like that I put on blast and stuff like that, you scroll down their profile, they are talking about Superman way more than anybody. And I'm like going, do you guys realize that's counterintuitive because you are adding to the analytics, you are adding to the keyword search, you're adding to everything because you were talking about Superman. And then, of course, you were causing the other fans to be like, well, if you're not going to watch it, I'm going to watch it 3 times because you're not going to watch it. Oh, you're going to fucking do a boycott? Well, that just means I'm going to watch it 2 more times now. And you see all that stuff. And like, it's all just still so stupid, petty bullshit. And it's just so weird. I'm like, come on, guys. Man.
It's definitely not fun. That's the thing.
What I find fun about it is just because when I see, like, when they try to do something, like I said, there was like that one guy, like when the Ben Affleck thing happened, he went back to my tweet where I literally did not have a hostile tweet. It was like after the GQ article came out where Ben Affleck said he wasn't interested in the genre anymore. And Phil, now I have my neighbor's dog going fucking crazy right now. I know how you feel. I have a neighbor like right here. The dog's going nuts right now. Good God.
Frustrating, isn't it?
It can be because that dog's bark is like so annoying. He goes that kind of like bark. Anyways. But anyways, so he went back and found that tweet. And it wasn't even a hostile tweet. I literally said, hey, if he's done with the genre, and this was during the 9-month anniversary of BVS, and I went, hey, let's bring back the hashtag thank you Batfleck or thank you Ben Affleck for being an awesome cinematic Batman. You're my favorite cinematic Batman. Here's the trailer, and here's hashtag, and if he's done, fuck it. And then he like quote tweeted and said he's done when he says he's done. But then he deleted it because he literally did say he was done. I think he realized that. And then I was kind of, I kind of got to a douchey part. I was like, hey, man, why'd you delete this? And of course, he didn't answer. But I'm like, guys, stop. I mean, stop with that. I mean, if he comes back later on, yes, I will. I've even had people even ask me, if he came back as Batman, would you be okay with it? Of course. He's my favorite cinematic Batman. If he announced tomorrow that he is like, I'm going to do my movie, I'm going to do a fucking an 8-9 episode miniseries with the Batman story that I wrote, I would be like, Joe Manganiello's back. I would be like, oh, I'd be fucking just falling on the ground like, oh my God, we're getting this. But I'm just looking at the writing on the wall. Ben Affleck is in a good place where he's doing some great things with his production company. We'll see what happens. I don't know. That's just the way it is. And that's the thing.
Not everything has to be forced into a particular time window, too. Everything we've got from anything, whether, it happened, things will happen when there's an opportunity. And I think the problem here is wanting something and trying to force it to happen like right now. Read the room, read the situation. Exactly. Who knows? The people I laugh at are the people who say, you Snyderverse fans are delusional. This will never happen. I ignore those people if they're like roadkill. That's what they are to me. They're roadkill. Now, because here's the thing. What are the odds of it happening with this, or then? Yeah, who knows? But the situations change. Like would I love to see the resolution? I don't need to see the restore. The resolution. Would I love to see the resolution? Yeah, but I look at the landscape. I look at what's going on now. Right now is not the time. That doesn't mean never. People who say never are usually some of the dumbest people I've ever met.
Yes.
Well, 3 or 4 years, you never know when climates change, when things change,
exactly.
where people come into the situation, and then they'll be like, somebody who said never, yeah, at that point in time, that actors or director, at that time, they were being 100% truthful. But guess what? It's like I tell somebody, I'm never going to move to Alaska. There's nothing in Alaska for me, right? Right now, as of May 9th at 10:09 p.m., I'm never moving to Alaska. But if somebody comes in to this door with a suitcase full of money and living expenses and a mistress or whatever and says, William, I'm going to give you all this. I'm going to give you all this. I need you to move to Nome, Alaska. Guess where William is going to be tomorrow? He'll be in Alaska.
Yeah.
The situation
and the Sci-Fi
changes.
Center will open up shop in Alaska.
I will be there 30 days of night, and we'll figure it out.
And if they offered me the same thing, I would be showing up with you. I'd be like, all right, we're running this whole thing.
Exactly. You just got to roll with the situation. And when there's an opportunity, like I said, with the Snyder cut, the opportunity presented itself and it happened.
It was a perfect timing. It was a perfect timing, and we were fighting for it, but we weren't just fighting for the releasing of it. We were fighting for, and I've said this many times, I'm like, some of the messaging was missed. I'm like, we were fighting for, hey, studios, recognize your filmmakers. Hey, studios, stop fucking over stop taking control. Let your filmmakers do your thing. Artistic integrity, doing all this, have a clear, do all this stuff. Like we want, like, how are you not having, how are you not having like your own like dedicated studio? How are you not having this? And then now we're having this, and now that Warner Brothers seems to be looking at, and there was, again, there's like people again, where I'm like going, I said, like, Warner Brothers is getting their shit together. And like, how are they getting their shit together? I'm like, have you looked? Have you like opened your eyes? It's not revolving around DC. But at the same time, it's like, hey, they created a DC Studios finally. And they got 2 people to be in charge of it. One on the business side, one on the creative side. Smart, cool. And now we're going to have people come in there and create and do filmmaking and blah, blah, blah. It was kind of funny too, because this one person said, like, what has James done in 2 years? I'm going, are you fucking kidding me? The dude's like trying to build up a studio and trying to fucking get a slate together. He made a Superman film, and he also overlooked all the other projects. I think he's done a lot in 2 years. But of course, they don't see it like that because they hate the man so much. And then I was like, Warner Brothers is getting their shit together because, they might have had some misses with Joker 2, with Mickey 17, which I still think it's an injustice for Mickey 17.
That movie did not make the money it deserved to make, but that's
that movie was fresh and pretty great. Maybe it'll make a
VOD strong.
VOD would probably get a cult classic kind of thing. But look at Minecraft, look at Sinners. And look at the deal that they gave Ryan Coogler that shook up the movie industry. And I want to see more of that from studios. I want to see more of that from Warner Brothers. I love what Michael DeLuca said about it. He was like, he was going to go off and try to get that. And we were like, no, we gave him the deal. And it worked out. I'm like, okay, you guys are getting your shit together. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Zazie Pants. Of course not. I hope that maybe he'll not be there. But at the same time, long as they have, I like Abdi and DeLuca. I like the fact that they have the DC Studios and they're allowing the filmmakers to do their stuff. I don't want to hear about the shit that happened, to Zack and what happened to Ayer, to what happened to other filmmakers. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. I want to hear that they told the story that they wanted to tell. This was it. And not say this was it because they have to say it, and then a year later they go, that wasn't it. I want them to be like, yeah, that's the story I wanted to tell. And that's what seems to be the direction that it's gone. And I'm like, this is one of the things that we were fighting for when it came to Snyder. It wasn't just about getting the Snyder cut out. It was more. It was AFSP. It was raising money. It was a lot of things more than just getting the cut out. And then I even said too, like when on Film Junkie Live, I'm like, okay, so anybody who wants to bring Zack into the CBM madness, I'm like, well, Zack had the ultimate mic drop. I mean, he literally like got his movie finished, with almost twice the money that he needed, that, initially, where he got to shoot more, got it released, got it praised, got it all done, dedicated to his daughter. He mic dropped, went over to Netflix and created 2 more universes. And now he's doing his passion project when it comes to the UFC. I'm like, there's no more fight for Zack. He fucking had the mic drop. Yeah, if he ends up coming back and doing something in a DC space, sweet. But there's no more fight. And some of these people think there's still a fight for it. Like,
well, they're not fighting for him. They're fighting, like I said, they've attached this to their identity. And I think that's where you need to uncouple this, because like I said, I'm looking at it. I no one wants to see the resolution more than I do, but like I said, there will come a time and place, and now you have that crazy man. That's why you're laughing at me when I said Ezra in the Flash. The reason why I can entertain something like that is because this guy hovers around comic book stores. This guy doesn't think like a fan, and he really doesn't think like a stuffed suit. So anything is on the table when it comes to this. I'm just going to sit back, and if there's an opportunity there, I could clearly see him saying, you know what, let me call Zack up. I think this will be kind of cool. I think this will generate some buzz, and let's do this right there and then. And I'm like, okay, that's an opportunity. But right now, you're trying to force a square into a peg where there's no hole.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where the friction is. I could see if there was momentum. I could see if there was data to deal with. And you're like, okay, these numbers are on the table. Why can't you? But like somebody was telling me that, well, we know we have the Snyderverse numbers. I'm like, even if those numbers were available and they weren't lying about them and they were front facing, you're wanting me to spend 2025 money based on 2021 statistics. That's crazy. That's why I say you sell 450,000. Yeah, you sell 450,000 of a comic book. Trust me, somebody's going to see that. You are going to have absolute Batman figures and cartoons and movies sooner than later, because the data is there to support it. Because 450,000.
You better believe we're going to get it. They already probably have it already in the works. So there's going to be an animated absolute verse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why when people tell you, well, I don't want to. You have nothing. You need to get. This is your cards. Put them on the table. And like I said, for you sell a comic for $4.99, so you know they're making it for less than 35 to 25%, which is nothing. And then you get mass production value of it. So you get a discount per. You nothing. So if it sucks, if you put out a Maxwell series and it just totally bombs, right? You didn't really lose anything.
Yeah.
You didn't really. We've already purchased the copies. The stores have already purchased the copies. You got your cash. But if it goes the other way, if you do even near the business that Absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman has done, and you multiply that times $5, now you're thinking, well, that's not a lot of money because movies need this amount of money. But guess what? That it's not the dollar amount; it's the unit. 450,000. Now you're saying buy a pop figure, buy a poster, buy a shirt. So you're taking a percentage of those people and adding that volume and that per unit to them. That's math. You can walk into the office and say, why aren't you making this? You know, this is flying off the shelves. There's like it's on its 6th cover right now. Where's my cartoon for this? And not get laughed out of the office. And like I said, because I want it is not a good enough. It's not a good enough reason for somebody to spend money, even if they're on your side. I support the resolution of all this, but you can't come into me. You can't come into me with well, okay, when you come to me and say, I want you to restore the Snyderverse, okay, how are we going to do this? See what I mean? The room is going to get silent because you're going to start throwing out, well, we need to start filming this, film that. Okay, you're going to want me to take borrowed money and sit these people in here and say, let's spend this money on something that at the last time we had it relevantly on the screen was back in 2021, and that wasn't even in a theater? No, try again. What's your backup plan?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like you hit the trapdoor button because they're not going to have a trapdoor because they've shut down. I'm like, dude, I'm going to come in there. I'm going to come in there with a stack of comics. I'm going to come in there with a bunch of sketch variants and say, this is the first phase. This is how much you get to spend on it, which is nothing. You're going to pay more for the security guard to throw me out of this office than you are to make these comic books, right? So now you're not telling them to risk a bunch of money. You're saying, we're going to spend them on this, and this is what I think you could sell. And then, okay, 4 months from now, I'm going to come back to your office. And if we've got Scott Snyder type numbers on these things, now we're going to talk about another phase. We may have to have 3 or 4 meetings of us building consistency in numbers for you to take me completely serious. But it's more than, well, because I want it. Or give me the haircut because I want it. I'm going to be like, why don't you take a leap out of this window with that plan? Because you want me to pay where is the justification for it? Now, if you come in and say, okay, 10th anniversary of Suicide Squad, 10th anniversary, what's your plan to attach this to this, that? That's what you need to do. But everybody, anger is not a plan.
Oh, dude, anger is, and I even saw a tweet too that said that James Gunn prevented the Ayer cut from releasing and the Schumacher cut releasing, and I went, what was that? Was there ever a release dates for any of those? And then, you know what's funny about that too is the fact that James Gunn has no authority on the Ayer cut or the Schumacher cut because that's Warner Brothers. Yeah. He only has authority over DC Studios production. That's all he has. Like those were like he has no authority on and maybe, I know he met with David Ayer and he was like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. But at the same time, he does not have authority. If they're going to release the Ayer cut, which I hope they eventually do, yes. I want to see that version, but it's not up to James Gunn really, because that's a Warner Brothers product.
That's property.
Yeah, it's not a DC Studios property because DC Studios wasn't around. Same with the Schumacher cut. I remember seeing that going, what the hell? Oh my God, he didn't. That wasn't him because there was no DC Studios then because it's not up to him. He's really not up to him.
He's become the hobgoblin. He's become the de facto villain simply by being there. He fills the vacuum. He's a visible target. He fills the vacuum of people's anger. But I'm like, okay, let's say, and I ask people so you don't want to compromise, you don't want to do any of this stuff, you don't want to give people a business reason, a money reason, which means you have no shot in hell getting this done. But okay, let's say this: you want this dude, the guy whose movie hasn't been released yet, to entertain this when we don't know how the reaction, both on a fan level or on a corporate level, more importantly, the corporate level, is going to be. We don't even know what success is going to be. So you want a guy with no wins. You think he's got clout right now? He's got a contract and he'll get certain things. But why don't we wait until maybe Superman pulls in maybe 700, maybe anywhere between 500 to 700? Why don't we make sure? Why don't we see that Lanterns, which I think is going to be is a hit? Maybe Supergirl does 400. Maybe wait till we get to the point where he doesn't have the hedge fund operators over his shoulders and he has freedom to do anything. Because right now there's no wins or losses. It's a 0-0 score right now.
Exactly.
So maybe you might get some of this stuff entertained when he gets more freedom, but right now we're at ground zero. None of us know how Superman is going to do.
There is so much pressure on Superman. That's the thing. There is a ton of pressure. Yeah, there is so much pressure. So if that movie gets, like I said, it gets a W, all of a sudden it's going to be like, whoo, okay, And then of course James Gunn. It could end up going to his head, and then all of a sudden he just drives it to the ground. That's always a possibility. But at the same time, then there could be more opportunities. We're like, okay, we have some wins. Let's do it. Let's see what's next. Hopefully that'll be a win, and that'll be a win, and that'll be a win. And then we can start entertaining, like going back to the whole, I want to see the Ayer cut. I think it would be perfect opportunity next year because it's 10-year anniversary. And it would be pretty sweet if they could do something. And I really want that for sure. And I would love to see the Schumacher cut, but at the same time, Schumacher cut, that might be a thing that
I think that's a pipe dream, but hey,
because I like the theatrical. I do. I can't say I don't.
I love the theatrical.
I know that's a thing. So
it wasn't a disaster like some of these other things. All right, that's a thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It might be a little difficult. Yeah. But the Ayer cut's a different story,
Ayer cut, but that's also a success too financially. So it's really hard for these guys to go back over the same ground. But it's to the point where you have to, even with Zaslav's, I think he's been a bonehead in certain situations. I thought he handled the James Gunn hire. I don't like the way he handled that. I don't like the miscommunication with the whole Abdi and DeLuca doing this thing while he's holding these meetings over here. And then all of a sudden you have something. I think he tripped over his dick and got the right guy. I always say that. But here's the one thing, no matter how much hate anybody wants to throw at David Zaslav, he did something in less than 2 years that all the studio people at Warner Brothers didn't do is he has a studio. That is, whether James Gunn is here for another month or another 20 years, that studio is going to be there. And that studio provides a buffer that the things that you're angry about will never happen again. A studio head has certain things that are going to be built into his contract.
That's what we wanted when we came to the Snyder Cut movement. And that's the thing. I try to tell these guys, I'm like, yeah, I get it. You don't like the guy who's running it. I get it. But at the same time, can you recognize that what we were fighting for also not just to get the cut out, but to recognize like, hey, come on, what are you guys fucking doing here? And they finally they pulled their fucking head out of their asses and said, hey, yeah, we should have a dedicated studio for DC because it's very important to the whole studio. So we need to have somebody doing that, just like what, Marvel's doing over there. Yes, we don't want to copy them, but at the same time, you still have to have something that's dedicated, sure. And that's what we always wanted. And then I always love it when people are like, oh, Zack Snyder should have been running that. I'm like, he never wanted to run.
He never wanted that.
Nope.
He wanted James Gunn didn't want to. He had to be talked into it with Safran because that's not what he does. And the
he's
thing
a filmmaker too. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that DC should have copied instead of all the other things that they failed at copying for 10 years, the one thing that they should have copied was the one thing that Zaslav instituted, which is a studio. And now you have, like I said, I'm not going to agree with everything James Gunn does. I'm not going to agree with everything anybody does.
You don't have
but
to.
he's thinking with the same type of brain. I can go to, he's going to jump to similar conclusions than I do as far as expectations. He has an expectation of how a story is laid out because he read them. He appreciates them. Now, he may appreciate certain errors I don't care for, but it doesn't matter. Storytelling is storytelling when you're a comic book fan. And you can clearly see that he understands the story structure. Now, his decision-making, what he does with that story, that's different. But you didn't, other than Zack, you didn't have somebody, in my opinion, in DC the last 7 or 8 years that had that cohesive cause and effect storytelling. Okay, take a shitty, no-name character and make him worth something to the audience type of person. That's what he did with Peacemaker. That's what he did with, I could keep two shit about the toilet head, and it was the first 2.5 episodes, but when they did that whole thing where Hardcore tells him what's in his file, and he starts remembering, and they're playing Cinderella's House of Pain, I think it was, and he's all these memories, from that point on, that series meant something to me. So there's only a handful of people that can really do that, and you have one running your studio. Yeah. So, and like I said, Hamada is gone. Sarnoff is
Thank
gone.
God.
Emmerich is gone. Yes. I can't. If I have to have a reason to hate the DCU other than the fact that they're there. Yeah. I am upset that we didn't.
The only thing is, Peter Safran was there, and he was there during all that stuff. So I'm a little wary on him. I've always said that, but at the same time, I'm like, if he just handles the business side and lets Gunn do the creative side, which I think was a smart thing. And like I said, I don't care what anybody says. Gunn has a unique knowledge of the DC universe more than any other filmmaker that's probably out there, more than Zack, more than Nolan, more than anybody, because, obviously certain filmmakers just gravitate to their certain stories. Zack has always talked about Dark Knight Returns, the Daredevil series, and certain things, he always gravitated towards certain stories. It seems like Gunn always, when he was younger, he just collected and knew a lot of things about that. And maybe he learned more things later on. I don't know. He just, you look at him, you go, oh yeah, that's a dork that would know everything about all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, yeah, I like Zack's filmmaking so much better. That's why I want him to do original things. In that UFC movie, Brawler is going to be something special. He's going to be working on that for the next 2 years. And that's going to be something special. And I'm just going, okay, so let's give a chance over here. Let's see what James Gunn has to offer. Could be shit. Very much could be, but, we'll see. But it's all I know is it's the vitriol and everything's going to it's ramped up. It's been ramped up. With the Ben Affleck thing and the Henry Cavill, Zack Snyder post, it was just like, it was crazy 2 days and it's still fucking happening. And I'm like going, oh man,
it's not all of us. I have to restrain myself too, because when I hear people come at certain fans and I'm like, you realize, we're a subset to begin with. Now you're talking about a subset You're
Yeah.
you're getting into a fight with that guy. And most of these people, like I said, you could just like scroll up and scroll down. You know, and they have the same effect. But you're engaging with that, and then and it's all of us now. It's like, dude, listen, I want it probably more than the people who have done some of the crazy shit. But at the same time, it's like if I don't get it, it's not it's not the end of the world, and it's it's not personal. And take your shots where they happen. If it happens, it happens. Then great. Be ready when it happens, whether it be 5 years, 6 years. When the opportunity presents itself, trust me, us fans will know when it's time to engage. But trying to force the situation, and everybody's like, well, you Snyder cultists and all that. I'm like, I just try to tell myself they're not talking about me. Don't take it personally. But like I said, when you have to mute the word cultist, when you have to mute the word Superman, you're having a conversation that probably doesn't have anything to do with 99.9% of the people that are following this shit. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I don't get called Snyder cult. I get cultist. I get called Snyder cunt,
bro, or Snyder bro, or whatever.
Yeah, or bro. Yeah, it's so funny when I get called a Snyder cunt. I'm like, what the fuck? Why you guys need new writers? You guys like call me that. I mean, that's the thing I get for the most from that side. It's like, yo, you're a Snyder cunt. I'm like, what? It's so weird. And then of course you get I get called a James Gunt. There's a Gunt, which is also a play on that too. I've gotten thrown that at me too, but it's like it's so weird. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, the only thing that sometimes when I'm feeling a little, all right, let's engage a little bit, I just ask questions. I start to ask questions. I know I shouldn't engage as much.
You're a better man than me because I just.
Oh no, I get it.
As it comes on, I'm trying to do better. As a content creator, to where I see myself approaching that edge, I want to pull myself back because this has got to be fun, or I got to get the hell out of it.
Yeah,
I got to have fun, or at some point, we can debate, we can do all this stuff, but I can't be I don't want to be angry on somebody online over this anymore. I mean, over anything. It's just
I get that. When I engage, I just want to. I really just start asking questions.
You're curious, but yeah.
I start just going, all right, and that's where I find the fun when I start having like the little bit of fun. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I might get a little too, and I'll be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But the main thing that I like to do is just ask questions. I'm like, okay, so. When could this take place? When could this? When could that? When? Like, how many people?
Who's paying for it?
Yeah, who's paying for it? You guys were talking about these movies. How much you guys think they just have the money they could just throw around? Do you think that everybody's going to show up? And they automatically think that everybody's kumbaya, and everybody who is involved with the Snyderverse is just going to come back because Zack's like, hey guys, we're getting the team back together, and he's holding a torch and he starts running and they run after him. And
who knows? Who knows? At some point that may be the case. But once again, there's just got to be some justification. Even if I got the money, even if I had the money right now, as a supporter of this whole thing, you're going to have to come to me and tell me, how am I not going to lose my ass on this? How am I telling the people who gave me this money, who are going to want 15% top dollar?
You can't ask them. They think that everything's going to make like $2 billion if they were.
Well, yeah, they still think Warner Brothers pays for the ad campaigns. I'm sorry to tell you guys, these other companies are paying for these ad campaigns.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, have a plan. Listen, anger without a plan is just stupidity.
Yeah.
You can put a bunch of holes in the wall. You can be angry at something. Desire is not a plan. Desire is not a schematic. Wanting something is not. I want this fucking store to stay open. I still got to do this shit that keeps it open, right? You just can't want something. You got to be able to draw a line between what you want and to what it gets. And you have to be realistic about the time. Everything may line up, but if one thing doesn't line up, then it's not time. You can have the money. You can have the availability of people, but guess what? It may the climate right now for the movie you want may not be the right time to make it. So don't force it. There's just so many things that people don't think about, but it just that's what happens because you, as a fan, for the most part, you don't have to. We have the luxury of just seeing the end product and not really giving a shit of how it got there. But when you are fighting for something that's in that gray area, that's something you have to understand. It's just everything has to line up. And it may be sometimes, Shit from 2017 to 2021. That was some hard sledding there for a while.
It was
and
crazy.
half that time it was a ghost. We were literally chasing Bigfoot.
Oh, we were chasing a ghost, but there was something to be chased right there. And like I said, right now there's nothing to be chased because Zack's not posting things like he was back then. Back then he was posting things. I mean, and I always love it when I see like these guys go like, oh yeah, they said the same thing about the Snyder Cut not existing. I'm like, it's not the same because Zack was posting things that was showing that existed. We knew it existed. So that's why anytime you post something, he's not doing that right now. He's not going, I want to finish the story, guys. Guess what? I have a storyboard or a drawing of something that is going to happen. No, he's right now, God knows what he's doing. He's probably like looking over. He's probably right now, he's probably asleep right now because he's an early waking up, early body. But he's probably, when he wakes up and he does his morning routine or whatever the fuck it is, he's probably looking at notes of what his UFC movie is, looking at notes, looking at things, probably going to have some meetings with people and then just talking about that UFC movie. It's like he's not looking like, oh, what can I post on Vero to try to get the Snyderverse back? He's not doing that. Like back in 2018 and 19, all stuff, he was posting images from the cut that he very much had. It was very much plausible. It's not the same thing. I love it when people say it's like the same thing. I'm like, it's not the same thing.
There's no hype right now. Like I said,
there's not the hype there.
That's why I say you put the paper in the stables out there, and I don't care what anybody says. That's low risk. You put that out there. You put that out there. Now you have a conversation. Your story's out there. I would love. Could you imagine people talking about the nightmare scenario in the same way that they're talking about fucking Mr. Freeze, this little Ichabod Crane ass coming out next month or this month, looking like that, and the Brainiac, the gross ass Brainiac, that's Superman.
Snyderverse run, it would be fucking awesome.
The absolute rouse out goal. Could you imagine when people are talking? They were talking about this thing in the same, and there's been no movie for what Scott Snyder's doing. There's been nothing. All there's been is this shit right here. That's all there's been, and it's the best selling stuff I got. People who are not comic book people are gravitating back into talking about that right now. Yes. So if you had that, now you have a conversation, to be had. But right now, you got no conversation. Read the room. Understand when it's a time and a place, and you have something to say, and then stop saying no to this other stuff. Like I said, claymation, sock puppets, doesn't matter. I have my preference. But just get the story out there. Just get it out there. And if it takes 5 or 10 years, it takes 5 or 10 years. But I got my ending. I see how the Battle of Themyscira with Darkseid's forces went. I see how, the anti-life equation was applied. I see the cosmic transmitter. I get that out of my system. Now, if somebody else wants to bring up a bunch of money and plop it down and invest in it and whatever, that's fine. Let them do it. But whether they do or not, I got my story. And it's out there. I have something to talk about. Right now I don't have shit.
Man, I remember, you said the anti-life equation. I'll give some inside baseball. Man, there was like, so this was like 2018, 2019. I don't know when it was, but like my source to Zack, I guess you could say, like when he had people like going out to be like, hey, how can we get this whole thing released? And this one person, connected with me, which I've talked about. He told me, he was like, oh, by the way, that, all the lava stuff, like when you see all that, that's the anti-life equation. Like when you see that, it's supposed to be Darkseid and blah, 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 that shot, that's the anti-life equation. And I went, are you fucking serious? He's like, yeah. And then we kind of set it up where I remember I posted it on Vero because he's like, hey, because we were trying to, again, we were trying to build up hype. And he goes, hey, this is before I was like, actually talking to Zack. He's like, hey, and we was like, hey, post about that. Zack will fucking, retweet it or whatever Vero is. He'll repost it. And I remember I was like, okay. I was like, hey, maybe this. And I remember posting it on Vero, and I did post it on Twitter, but of course Zack was not going to do it on there. But I posted on Vero. I was like, hey, this looks like this might be an equation. What say you? And I tag Zack, and then he like reposted. He goes, yep, that might be an anti-live or something like that. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, that was, of course, that's how you build up hype. And that's what he was doing to try to get the fucking cutout. And that's the thing. It was like, it was a crazy thing where it was like, oh, shit. We were learning things. We were getting spoiled. I mean, essentially before, when we saw the Snyder Cut, we already knew everything about it. But it didn't matter. It was like one of those things where it was like, we knew pretty much everything that was happening except for all the added stuff, which was great. He got to shoot additional things that we didn't know about. We just knew that Jared Leto Joker was coming back and blah, blah, blah. But it was just kind of crazy. I mean, yeah, it was a fun time. It was definitely a fun time back in 2018, 2019, into 20 before we got it all. I mean, that's where we all got connected, which was great.
Yeah, that was, like I said, that's one of those great things about it. And like I said, who knows, 10 years from now, maybe James Gunn wants to use Darkseid again. And he decides, you know what, I'm a purist. I'm a comic book purist, and I know there's only one Darkseid. Maybe I'll revisit that. I'm willing to be honest with you. I'm willing to just sit back and let whatever unfolds over however many years and times that it takes place. If something like that happens, or where we get a glimpse of it, and they get together and they pull off something like that, that's great. If I get it in comic book forums, I would be eternally grateful, because, like I said, I think that is something that you could, whatever you want to put out, you can put it out in that format without compromising anything. And now it's out there. Somebody wants to adapt this portion of it, they can do it. If they want to adapt this portion of it, they can do it. If they want to do it all, they can do it. But it's out there. You leave nothing on the table. Yeah.
And some of these guys don't realize it's live action or nothing. I'm like, come on, guys. You guys got to realize it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game right now. I mean, Jesus Christ. You put it out there in comic book form, and it sells out like Absolute Universe is selling out. Jesus Christ.
Dude, you start getting shit like this, you can sell
a black
in my 30 years of collecting. If you'd have told me back in 82, when I first picked up my very first comic book, that you would be able to sell not a sketch cover, but a black cover, a cover with absolutely nothing on it, that you would be able to sell out of this and sell plenty of these, then that's when you know you have something. There's nothing on this cover. There's nothing on this cover. And there you go.
Insane.
And I would love to see that. And plus, like I said, another thing I like about James Gunn is whether you agree with the creative, the narrative decisions he makes one way or another. And I want him to do this more. He's making the logical connections between these stories that are in print and what he's doing. Tom King is on the staff, or it is on Supergirl World to Tomorrow. There are people involved. He knows these stories because you see him walking around. And he's helped Superman, Woman of Tomorrow fucking collected dust for a lot of people until he mentioned it. Right. So he's making that logical connection. So for me, that's a benefit, because you're making the connection that's really hard to make. Most of these people who watch these comic book IPs will never pick up a comic. Now you're making the direct connection, so that curiosity builds. And once you get them into the door, we can take it from there. So I got a comic book fan running a comic book studio. I gotta start there.
Yeah,
I gotta start there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's all crazy. I mean that's the thing. It's like, when this whole thing happened, I remember I think I was talking to Mr. Stephen Colbert, and we kind of agreed. Even though he doesn't take part in a lot of the things that are happening, but he agreed. He was like, "Yeah, hiring James Gunn was probably the best idea if you're gonna get somebody on the creative side to do this stuff. He's probably the guy to do it, because he just has that unique knowledge of all the stuff. He's a comic book nerd." And I mean, look what happened when they started announcing the slate, like you said, and they start going, yeah, we're going by these books and these books and these books. And they started selling out. They started going, and I think that's going to get you're probably going to see more All-Star Supermans, get off the fucking shelf closer to, see right there. I know. I need it. I still need to read it before.
everybody, like I said, and you don't have to, go out and buy the individual comics. If you got $15-$20, here you go. Well, this one's a little bit more. Holy shit! Well, actually, 30.
I don't remember the last time I
But
spent
you
that
know what?
much.
I'll hook you up. If you make it into my store based on something you heard him say, I'm gonna make sure I get this into your hands because that's really important. You know how hard small businesses spend a lot of money to get that person just a shot at a person to walk through their door. I got this crazy man sending people to me. I'm gonna take that, even if I hate the movie, even if I hate Superman 2025. If he's sending people in here to purchase the red S off my shelves, I'll find a way to love that aspect of it. So it works out for me. Like I said, he slowed down a little bit, but I wish his tweets, his engagement would be like taking pictures of covers and, hey, this is what I'm reading today. I'm reading Absolute Superman, or kind of like what Scott Snyder does, where he kind of engages with everybody, not answering dumb questions for people who will never have a right answer for, but just, hey, I'm reading. I just read Absolute Batman #7. I just read Absolute Green Lantern #2, or I read Batman 159. I'm thinking this is great. Things like that, if he's reading it, people are going to come over and be like, hey, I heard, and then now you can judge the health of your brand, not just the movies. How healthy is your brand? If you can bounce the people from the theater to the toys to the comics, you're no longer just talking about a movie. I always said that in order for the DC brand to be completely healthy, it's not just whether Superman or the DCU is successful. It's whether that resonates with toys, comic books, T-shirts.
People don't realize that. People don't realize that. Yeah.
You get these IPs from the comic books. It's really important, to be honest with you, that everything stays healthy.
Yes. Well, this week they showed Dairy Queen's going to be running a promotion, and all this stuff is like running a promotion. And I'm like going, wow, this kind of reminds me back in the 90s when like these movies would be, oh yeah, if you like as a kid, oh mom, I got to like go to fucking McDonald's and get the
Batman cup. Get that.
Yeah, the Batman Forever fucking mugs and shit like that. Yeah.
I got them too. I got all 4 of them now. I'm so happy.
Dude, back in the 90s, like, it was all about like getting the Happy Meals, getting the collective shit. And, they're doing that with Dairy Queen. I'm like, all right, maybe Dairy Queen. I don't know. I haven't been to Dairy Queen in fucking forever, but, they're having stuff like that. And then, of course, I even had somebody today, I just now remembered the other one, like when I was talking about certain fans that were just kind of going like, oh, now I'm going to let it be known. I've been holding back, but now I'm going to let it be known. I had somebody go like, why are they relying on too many celebrities and humor? Okay, I can get the humor part because it's James Gunn, but they were saying, how are they relying on so many celebrities? This was after the latest NBA promotion.
Oh, Jason Tatum. Yeah, that was an excellent thing. I wish they would have done. Dude, it's a connection to the general audience. I was of the school of thought that you should have been doing this before, but you got NBA on TV. It's one of the biggest draws he has, and it's the playoffs now. So you have the big markets that are in there. You got the Knicks. You got the Knicks in the semifinals. That's just the largest market in America. I need to see the SW. Personally, I think they've been a little bit timid with the marketing, but here's the thing. That's just only because I've never seen a movie promoted this way before. If they do fine, they do fine. I'm used to a certain way of movies getting promoted, trailers, all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean this is the wrong way. He's trying something different. I'm going to be there for the movie anyway because I'm a comic book nerd. But and then like you always bring up welcome James Gunn's and all the promos, because you know what? Most people don't know who David Cornsweet is. Sorry, they know who James Gunn is.
We've talked about that. Well, that's the thing. Is like I love being in the era of directors being center focus. Ryan Coogler was very much a big part of the marketing of his movie. Michael B. Jordan, yes, he was obviously the star and people know him. That was a huge selling point. Haley Steinfeld also too. Yeah. But I love the fact that
dirty mouth Haley. I cannot believe some of the shit that comes out of her mouth.
Dude.
That's another
thing. Her opening fucking dialogue was like, holy shit.
I thought I told you to go the fuck away, but then you blank, and I'm like, ooh, man, there goes the Disney reunion.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. But I'm just saying, like I love the fact that directors can be just, hey, let the directors sell the fucking movie. That used to be a thing, when you say, oh, Scorsese, Tarantino, fucking
Spielberg.
Ridley Scott. Yeah, Spielberg.
Tarantino in the movie and directing the movie.
Yeah. So let them like fucking sell the movie. And like when you have a Superman movie that are hiring, and I remember I was having a back and forth with somebody too. I was like, because I was asking questions again. And I was kind of going like, oh yeah, they said like there's no A-listers in Superman. I'm like, good. Remember when Zack had no A-listers in his Superman movie and he turned them into A-listers? That's what good directors do. That's what good directors can do. Let James Gunn turn these people like the Coen Sweats, the Brosnahans, the Holtz, even though Nicholas Hoult is probably the most notable name. I think he is the most notable name of the entire cast, I would say.
Yeah.
Let him turn Coen Sweat and Brosnahan into fucking A-listers. Let him turn them. That's what Zack did. Zack was even Christopher Nolan said, and I love Christopher Nolan said that he's got a knack for casting. He's always spot on. He knows how to cast his movies, even if it's like he has to fight for it, because obviously the studio will be like, really? No, we need somebody a little bit more of a name. And he's like, no, I want this guy. This guy's that's why Ray Fisher ended up being the heart and probably had the best performance of Zack Snyder's Justice League, because he recognized, oh yeah, Fisher, this guy, he has it. He's the cyborg. He's going to hold that weight that I want to give him. He's going to be able to do it. And hopefully, I know Ray Fisher didn't blow up, but there's always still a chance he's going to be starring.
There were circumstances obvious that
there's some things,
a couple things.
But he's showing up in Ben Affleck's new movie Animals that is going to be shot. He's going to be in it, and I hope
he's on Broadway too. He makes he's on Broadway as well. So.
But I mean, that's what Zack has always had a knack for, and I'm like, that's good. So, but when I see people going like, there's no, I'm like, of course there's no A-listers. That's a good thing. We don't need A-listers. I mean, obviously. If we know who's actually playing, Jor-El, that's an A-lister, I guess you could say. But hey, at the same time, there's going to be some other things. But I don't know. It's all pretty crazy. But, this could be a good way to end up the show tonight with this talk. Like I said, there's a lot of craziness out there, and we're all going to be talking about. We're all going to be, like I said, it's going to be ramping up. We're 2 months out from it. And it's going to be, but at the same time, in the middle of that, guys, go see, I'm telling you, go see fucking Fight or Flight. If you want to see a fucking just crazy plane assassins, crazy Josh Hartnett kicking ass movie, go see that. Go see these movies, go see a matinee where it's not as pricey, it's the summer blockbuster season. And we started last week with Thunderbolts. And then we have this week, there's not really anything, but you can go see like a movie like The Surfer and other movies that are out there. Go to the movies, guys, if you can. Go see these like low budget movies. And I wish I could see The Surfer because Scott said he raved about it. So I was like, maybe I should see that. It's Nicolas Cage. But I really enjoyed Fight or Flight. And then, of course, next week we have Final Destination. Then after that, we have Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. I'm not going to see Lilo and Stitch. I'm not a Disney guy. Did not see the original. I mean, I might have saw the original like in class or something. I think maybe it was played in class when I was like younger. But then again, maybe I wasn't. Maybe when did the original Lilo and Stitch come out?
2000.
Okay, no, I wasn't. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I watched other Disney movies in class, but that's way too late. But I'm like, I'm not interested. Maybe
2003. That was wrong.
2003. I was already graduated. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe I saw it. Maybe I was dating somebody who had kids, and that could have been it. Anyways, okay. But yeah, go see movies, guys. It's fun, and we can all just argue up and down about DC, Superman, all the stuff. But hey, just go see movies, collect comic books.
Yeah.
By the way, how was Free Comic Book Day, William? Was it good for you?
Since I started, I think it was 2002 when they first introduced it to us. It was the best trafficked day one that we've had, and it was
Nice.
we gave away. I over-ordered, which is the reason I did that is because each of the other years we ran out and got shorted. So I over-ordered, but we handed out. As a result, there were no limitations. Some people were limiting to 3 books. If you came to my door, you got one of everything that we had out there. So yeah, it was a great day. I wish every day could be Free Comic Book Day, but then it wouldn't be special.
See, that's what's great about it. I mean, Free Comic Book Day is great, and support local comic book. I mean, we could all just order things online, but there's something cool about. I mean, even when I went to this comic book shop for the first time a couple of weeks ago. The dudes were very nice. They didn't have what I wanted, sadly, but it was still like I looked around. They had some cool shit, and they were like they knew exactly what they had, what they didn't have. They were cool and everything. So always great, and hopefully I can get some things from there because I do want to support that and support William if you're in Vegas. And when I'm in Vegas the next time, I'm of course going to visit you and harass you, William, as I do.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just leave the wallet at the counter. I'll take care of everything else.
There it is. But good times with the discussions tonight. And, of course, thank you to Travis, who is currently watching Clown on the Cornfield right now. And thank you to Chris. Thank you to William. Thank you to Phil. Let's go ahead and promote. What do you got, William? Are you doing a show tonight? Are you doing a show tomorrow?
I may do a show tonight. Definitely doing one tomorrow. We're going to be covering heavy metal, the legacy of heavy metal. Heavy metal number 1 just came out. We are going to be covering the back end issues, the last 3 or 4 issues of Absolute Universe because we've kind of tailed off on that one. I got a couple of other things that might crawl into the day of them, but those are going to be the 2 main things we talk about. We'll talk about the Peacemaker trailer because I haven't had a chance to talk about it in any detail and what it could mean. I'm pretty sure we'll have other. You think my conspiracy theory is crazy? I'm pretty sure tomorrow night we're gonna have some absolute batshit crazy stuff, but it's all in fun. Like I said, only gonna have fun conversation, and that's it from this point on.
There you go. What do you got, Phil?
I had my show today, Friday, Phil. I kind of. It's funny to like reference a conversation we were having earlier. A lot of people in my chat were excited for Peacemaker, and I was like, "Yeah, that's great. I hear you. I respect you. I love you. Not my bag, right?" And I feel like a lot of conversations should be more like that, especially in this space. Other than that, Vero Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky. I just put up a video. Yeah, you wish. I just put up a video on my YouTube channel. It's about who may or may not show up in Avengers Doomsday, and I basically go over all the Fox legacy characters, either like between Rogue, Storm, Iceman, like all those characters, and even some of the current MCU roster of like who didn't get a chair and the likelihood of whether or not they'll show up in Doomsday or even Secret Wars. That's up there for people's viewing pleasure. It's like almost an hour long, but it was probably the longest thing I've made to date, and I'm pretty proud of it, even though there's some things that could have been better. But yeah, I've got something else in the works that I'm going to do in regards to that, but it's a little different. I'm not ready to say what it is because I still have to start writing it. And, Eternal Light Podcast, even though I haven't done anything with that in like a month because I've just been busy. And yeah, that's pretty much here. I'm here every Friday. I'm here on Council Creators every Wednesday and Party Nation every Tuesday.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody who's stuck around in the chat. Great discussions. And again, thank you to Travis. Thank you to Chris. Thank you, William, and thank you, Phil. Always great to talk to you guys. And yeah, guys, hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe, do all the things, and we will talk to you guys later.
See you.